What's up, everybody? Welcome back to yet another episode of Very Vehicular. I'm your host, Brian Scotto, and today we have a very special guest, a dear friend of mine, Mr. John Chase. John was the creative force behind a lot of Hoonigan's apparel and design. We get heavy into both of our creative processes and our influences. We talk about the fear of AI and creativity and how John is starting to close this loop and come around to love cars again. We also, of course, wax nostalgic on our time at Hoonigan, Power Tour, muscle cars, hot rods, the good times, and even the less good times. Overall, this was a really fun episode for me. It was great to catch up with John. I hope you guys enjoy it too. But first, some quick housekeeping. If you are only listening to this podcast, we want to let you know that not only is it available on YouTube in video format, but we are now uploading videos to Spotify as well. Check them out. And again, enjoy the episode. So you probably know these guys best for their killer shop stools. I'm sitting on one right now. But Vyper Industrial also makes an amazing shop cart. You're thinking right now, how amazing of a shop cart do I need? You need one this amazing. It holds over 1,200 pounds. I've seen people rebuild engines on them. It has fantastic wheels, just like their stools. They're massive 8-inch casters. It's got this smart modular system. They make holders for everything from hammers to polishers. You can set it up for a bunch of different things, from detailing to wrenching, or running your podcast, which is exactly what we're going to do with it here on Very Vehicular. Anyway, I've said it before, I love these guys. They run a great company, made here in the USA, so go support them. After all, they do support us. Legal disclaimer. It might actually be illegal to wear Heatwave's polarized ultra black lenses while driving. But if you spend a lot of time in violently bright conditions, like snow or in the desert, then these lenses are going to be perfect for you. Traditionally, sunglasses have an 11% VLT rating, but these are cranked all the way down to 6%. That's limo tint for your eyes. They also provide a great level of ocular privacy for when you're looking at something you shouldn't be. I'll be wearing them tonight while I'm sat next to my wife, scrolling Marketplace. Avoid being blinded at heatwavevisual.com. Some people are extremely organized. Super sorted workbenches, garages, and lives. I am not that person. I'm a mess. Luckily, Wera can help. When you buy their toolkits, they offer matching foam inserts. Maybe it's a mental condition of mine, but there's something about an empty slot that just screams at me to go find that missing 10 millimeter before it vanishes forever. Plus, the inserts fit perfectly into Wera's stainless steel rolling cabinets, which come both in regular and double XL. For those of you like myself who collect tools. Go check them out at weratools.com. Mr. John Chase, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
It's been a while, but kind of also not.
Not really.
We caught up in the summer, but then it had been a while before that, I feel
Oh,
like.
yes. That gets the most I've ever talked to you.
Yeah. We just talked about life stuff, which is good because I think we saved all like the car stuff for today.
Yeah, I've been kind of like out of car for a little bit.
You've been out of cars for a bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I think
Are you still like driving and working on old cars though?
So driving, yes. Working, literally, I just bought parts a couple days ago. I think the thing with me was at Hoonigan, it becomes, instead of a hobby, it becomes your main identity, and it's basically your whole being. Mm-hmm. And when you leave that and you go back to being a hobby, for me, it was like I needed like a little break. So, but now I'm slowly getting back into it. I just went to a Cars and Coffee at NHRA Museum, talked to David Kennedy. And like now I'm going to work on cars again. I've been driving stuff, but I need to take a break. So now I'm back into it. So yeah.
Do you find that balance to be kind of impossible in the business? Because you've been working in and around cars for like a long time.
Yes.
Do you enjoy your relationship with cars more when you're working for a non-car brand than when you're working with a car brand? Because obviously before Hoonigan, for those who don't know, like you did Famous Stars and Straps, but you also worked for a couple toy companies, right?
Yeah.
You obviously did your own thing, which was Dstroyr, which you're still doing.
Yeah.
Which because I've done both now, and I actually have I think my feelings are interesting. They've gone back both ways. But where are you at?
So for me, I'm always in a season. So I could be like, I'm really into cars right now. Like that's my season. And then
Right.
I'll wane away and be like, oh, I want to go make toys. I'll do 3D. I taught myself 3D modeling so I could make my own action figure and do that stuff. I'll just go back to cars. I think it's the thing with people, like they'll follow me and be like, dude, this guy isn't talking about cars every day. I'm like, no, because I have like other things.
Because you're like more than 2-dimensional. That's weird.
But people don't like that though, because online they go, you do that thing. I want you to keep doing that thing.
Right, like you are like 55 Chevy. Like that's what you're supposed to do. You should every day of your life, you should be racing Mike Finnegan. That is your role. Yeah.
Which is crazy. Yeah. But yeah, so it's interesting. So I'm like, that season for me is coming back right now for cars, which I'm happy about though.
How long have you been out of it for, you think?
I left Hoonigan 4 years ago.
So since you left Hoonigan, you feel like?
Yeah, I would try to go do car, and I just couldn't do car.
Car wouldn't car?
Car wouldn't car for me. It was weird. So it was like, instead of forcing it, I just need to take that time to spend time with my family, focus on the kids, build up my business, which has been doing very well for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like my version of success, I feel like I've done it. I'm really proud of what I've been able to do.
Yeah.
And then just also focus on things that matter more. And it's right now, because like my mentor, his name is Noah Elias. He always says, think about the end in mind. It's like when you pass away, what do you want everyone to think about you? It wasn't like, damn, I wish my dad worked more. I wish my dad would have been like gone more. Like, I don't think people really realize when you get, because I really love working with small to medium companies that are very passion driven.
Yep.
But when we were together, we would be gone all day,
Mm-hmm.
weekends, cross country, whatever, dude. Like, you don't realize that it affects everyone around you.
Even when you're not physically gone, you're still mentally gone.
Oh, dude, we would go and I would come home on weekends that we were not doing something. I was a zombie.
Yeah.
And I was just like super bummed.
It's interesting because lately I just went to the Fat Ice Race.
Mm-hmm.
I ran into a bunch of people I haven't seen in years, right? Since I was at Hoonigan. And a lot of people ask you like, oh, what are you up to now? Right? I'm actually up to a lot. Got a lot of different things going on. But I actually had a really hard time answering it because I realized that when I was at Hoonigan, there was this like very omnipresent North Star.
Yes.
Build the brand, make the brand bigger, make the brand better, right? Build, build, build. Hoonigan is always first. It's always what you think about. Where now, I've got the podcast and I enjoy this, but it's, this isn't my everything, right? I'm chasing all these other things. But it means that like I no longer have a North Star. And I think I've been like trying to figure out what that North Star is. Yeah. And I actually think that North Star now is actually like, how do I become happy? Because I wouldn't say, I mean, you were there during the Hoonigan days. I don't know if I was happy. I was happy that I was doing stuff. I was happy that we were successful. I was happy that the things we were doing well. Mm-hmm. And I connected all of my identity to that. Yeah. And then when that went away, I was like, oh shit, I don't have identity. And I went and I was like, I'm going to leave. I'm going to go work at Superplastic. Mm-hmm. And you were probably one of the few people who knew what Superplastic was because you live on the art side of things. And it was weird because all of a sudden, like, my job wasn't a part of my identity, but which was good and bad. It meant that like I could go home at night and turn it off and go do something else. But it also meant that I didn't take as much from it. Like, it didn't give me as much. Like, it paid me. Yeah. But I didn't walk away with it with this like feeling of fulfillment, right? Like, it didn't make me feel satiated. So I would do like this whole day of work and then get home and felt like I had to do something else to fill that. And I couldn't really figure out what that was, So, but, and I think to answer to your thing, when I was at Hoonigan, I got sick of cars because they were my everyday, but like but then they just became work. So I didn't stop doing them. When I was at Superplastic at first, I was excited. Like, I got in track days. I did all this stuff that like I never had time for at Hoonigan, which I think is which I think to like the average person, they're like, wait, you worked at this company that's all about cars and you never had time for your cars. Like, I have more running cars now than I did when I was at Hoonigan because I have like more time to like just make sure that like that stuff gets taken care of. And I also prioritize things differently than I did back in the day. But there was this moment where like I just realized that I had to go back to cars. Because like there was this itch that wasn't being scratched by what I was doing in the world of pop culture and art. Like, cars was something that I just felt, I don't know. Like, it was just, I realized that is maybe as like dangerous as it is to have your identity tied to a company or tied to your work. Yeah, that's just kind of how I'm wired.
Well, that's how you operate. So like for me, going to SEMA, everyone gets excited because they're going to see the cars, right?
Yeah.
I think I saw 2 cars.
Mm.
Well, I saw the Liberty Walk stuff, which is now for here is like the thing.
Yeah.
Right. And I think I saw a couple other cars, but all I wanted to do was talk to people.
Right.
Like the cars. And I didn't even think about it. I felt kind of bad. I'm like, I only took like maybe 10 pictures of like a sunny pickup outside.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like old Anvil built car that was like, I missed it. I walked right past it, didn't even realize it because I was overwhelmed by all the stuff. But
yeah.
And I think it was Bart Hockerman. You know Bart, right?
Yeah, of course.
He's like, it's because you're kind of like, you've seen some of the best cars ever built.
Yeah.
In front of us, like, or at work. And it's like, I'm not saying SEMA builds are normie cars. They're not by any means. No. But you just like, I don't feel the time to stop and go look at it and like notice these things because it's like, oh, I haven't seen this person in like a year. I want to go talk to them, catch up with them.
I know you guys hated it, but that's why I loved the 1 hour special that we did for SEMA. Because at that point, I think you go to SEMA and there's so many people you know that you want to catch up with. And then there's just other people there who are, fans of what we did and wanted to interact with us. Mm-hmm. So getting a chance to actually take a step back and look at a car for 5 minutes was impossible at the show. I remember. Right? And it still is. But when we did the overnight pass and it was just us out there, nobody was there. Like it was actually kind of cool because you got to actually like go to me those, even though I know everyone hated it, especially Vinny and Hurt, because it meant that everyone was there till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning working instead of going out or sleeping or doing whatever. But I actually really loved it because I enjoyed it. Made it feel like the first few years I went to SEMA, where I could just walk around by myself. Didn't really know that many people there. Just walked around and got to look at stuff and like really enjoy it as an enthusiast. Where SEMA is such a different experience now for me. I'm not knocking SEMA. Yeah. But this last one feels like Complex Con for cars. Every booth, I don't know if it's because of the tariff situation or whatever, but almost every manufacturer now was selling merchandise or had something to offer people that you can get in line to buy. Right. Nothing wrong with that because if if your fan base cannot afford these coilovers or they can't buy this particular item you sell, the wheels, because they're not in there. Right. They can buy a t-shirt or they can get a pin. Like nothing, that's fine. I get it. But it was interesting that every booth had that now. And I see more, like I'm getting approached by a lot of brands in that space now who are trying to I want to make a lifestyle brand out of my hard parts company. I think that every brand is trying to be a brand now, which is interesting because I don't know where that leaves the original brands. Well, right? There's so much crossover now because look, I'm not knocking these dudes. You can knock them. It's okay. I'm not knocking them because like DGK is a skateboard brand, right? I've worked with Stevie Williams way back in the famous days. Yep. Right? Kalis is a good buddy of mine. Yeah. Kalis, right? They sold how many t-shirts with a Hachiroku on it did they sell? Yeah. They're I'm pretty sure. And like a lot of those brands crossed over into automotive that weren't there. Yeah. And I'm not knocking it. I get it. It's a trend. Mm-hmm. It's been going on a long time. But it's just like, it's interesting now that cars used to be very underground. Only like the really nerdy people were really into it, right? Yeah. I'm just thinking maybe like 20 years ago for sure. Muscle car guys, before Fast and Furious. Let's be honest. Let's be very opposite of that. Before that. Pre-2001. 100%. So like, let's say mid-90s. The last century. Yeah. So muscle car guys were over here. JDM kids were over here, and in-betweeners were, no one ever crossed over, right? Now the crossover is so much, and it goes back to gatekeeping and all that stuff. Everything is just crossed over, which I think, on one side, I think it's really great because everyone can be influenced by everybody. And that's awesome. At the same time, there is no, and I'm not a purist person at all. Like, I have a LS, a supercharged LS, and I'm 55 with a straight axle, right? And I think I might have been the first person to do that, actually. Mm-hmm. But the death threats were gnarly. Oh, yeah. And that's from the old guard saying you can't do that. You're not a purist. I'm not a purist. But my whole thing is just everything crossing over has just made everything, there is nothing. There is no, what is the culture of it now? Right. And I'm just saying that. I'm not knocking anybody. I know things have to evolve, but it's just weird. I look at it as how music is kind of crossover, styles of dress doesn't matter anymore. You could tell a skater or a BMX dude before, and now it doesn't matter.
and maybe it's just me being an old man now because I am, but it's like there is no. I think taking influence thing is great, but there is like that essence is missing. Like it doesn't matter so much anymore, and only older people or people who are willing to go deep dive into the history of something, the lore of something, maybe understand it more. Because it's kind of weird when you go see like a 70s Chevelle with a huge wide body kit on it with like blisters and stuff on it, and like it's like what I get it, you can build that,
right?
I don't know. I just think it's interesting that things cross so much that it's like you can't even tell. Like I guess maybe it's just the iteration has gotten so much and so quickly, especially now with social, that like these people don't even know where it originated from and they don't care.
So we could literally spend the next 4 hours unpacking everything you said, because I think this is so true in so many ways. So the first one I want to talk about is speed at which people get information, because I grew up in New York City. I started really kind of in skate scene, probably about 8 or 9 when I first like recognized what skateboarding was. First deck was I borrowed my friend's Tony Hawk Powell Peralta green deck with the like bird on the bottom, right? But then eventually I got a Jason Lee blind deck with the one with with Scrooge on. I mean, no, the Grinch on the bottom.
Yeah.
Right. And
but that'd be like 1989 or 1990.
It was 89. Yeah. So I was all of 9 or 10 years old at the point. And but I watched all the skate videos, right? So like Streets of Fire, Band This, right? Like that was the era of, and that's what introduced me to so much of what created me, right? Like it was the music, the aesthetic, the style. I mean, we were wearing things like skids. Do you remember skids? They were like basically. Do you remember the skid? They were like pajamas.
This is like an East Coast thing, I feel like.
Okay, but these were, so much of this style was really, to me, West Coast style that we were getting, and realizing now that like we were getting it a year late, because all that stuff was filmed a year earlier, and then it was edited, and then it was put onto a VHS tape, and then that VHS tape was shipped and sold to skate shops, and then it took about a year for me to get that. And then we were not instantly influenced. It took a little bit for that influence to hit. And, it's where I discovered bands like, Black Flag and Suicidal Tendencies and all these different things that became such a part of like of what my childhood identity was. It like still forms and shapes who I am today. And I think there was this huge window of where that would happen. And then the next video would come out and it would be like, oh shit, like now we're on to the next thing. Yeah. But like now as I go back and I look at it with a different perspective, I realized that, it took a year for that information to get from California to New York City, right? If you lived in the middle of the country, it might have taken even more, because like you didn't have access to the skate videos like we did, right? Like you weren't going to Benji's to go get this. And I literally name dropped that for anyone who skated back in the day. But like, this is before Supreme. This is before all of that. And, the access to that. And then obviously I got into BMX and that and snowboarding and all of that. And now something can happen in the scene in Tokyo and you will see it 4 minutes later.
Yeah.
And I think in some ways it's amazing that can happen. That like 4 minutes later you're involved, but it also means that everything moves too quickly now. Fashion moves too quickly. Trends move too quickly. And I think no one really gets to embrace them, enjoy them, make them their own. It's just like, boom, you're into something else right now, right?
Well, because the cycle is so quick. There's the micro trend, which is based purely off social. Like it lasts a week.
Yeah. And
then they're on the next thing. Some of these kids who are following things, rotating closets, so insane. I don't know how their parents can even, or anyone can fund it.
Yeah.
But it's just a bummer. Like you said, no one can marinate in it and be like, this is for me.
Yeah. And I think like in the fashion stuff has always maybe been a little bit of a step ahead than the car culture stuff, but it's like, but car culture is moving that quickly now too.
It is.
Where this is not cool anymore. This is cool. Hey, there's this new trend. Now everybody has this trend. And I think when I talk to other people, a lot of times people try to sort of like, attack this younger generation, right? Which definitely makes us sound like old dudes yelling at clouds. I think a lot of it has to do with like, well, no, it's the medium that we had when we were younger. If the Super Street guys went to Japan to go cover something, it would be 3 or 4 months before we would see it in the magazine. Right?
Yeah.
And then even then it would take longer for it to get there, for you to even figure out how to get the parts, for you how to put it together. It's like now everything is just so rapid that I don't know, like I go back and forth, like, is it a bad thing? I don't know. When I was a kid, I definitely wanted that information faster. I mean, I loved the internet when it came around because it was like, wow, look at how quickly I can find out what happened. I mean, I remember there would be like a car show and like the next day someone would be uploading photos from the car show in a different state. And that felt magical to me.
Well, it is.
Now it's literally happening as it's happening.
Yeah.
Like you could get a live stream of a car show that's in, Germany.
Yeah, but here's the thing also is that then people don't feel they need to go to those things because like, oh, I can just stay home and watch it.
Yeah.
They don't go and experience the thing in real life, in real time. And I also feel, with that being said, it's really great. I feel like some people don't, when say you create something, and I feel like this way for music especially and film, is that people don't take it as has any value anymore because they have access to everything. You don't have to fight to go see things. Like I just went to go see John Woo's A Better Tomorrow, 1986, Hong Kong classic, Heroic Bloodshed, right? I bought a ticket because they re-released it into theaters. I was there and one other dude. Granted, this is a very niche thing. In Corona, I'm sure there's not a big audience, obviously, for it, but I still wanted to go see it because I didn't get to see it back then, right?
Yeah.
And then just like, okay, this is cool. I'm experiencing it. I still had a great time, but a lot of people won't go anywhere to go do things. So that's why I'm so excited about, like my daughter Penny wants to go to shows, wants to see bands play, wants to see things, go experience it because she grew up, it's all been online.
Yeah.
And you don't experience that stuff. So I think it's really important that people do that. So like, I know it sounds ridiculous, but like a car show, okay, but people are still doing it.
Yeah.
But you don't see a lot of younger kids doing it. Unless their parents go.
The car show's been kind of replaced by the cars and coffee crowd, and it's all people our age there, or mostly people our age there.
But that's an easy one because the investment is low. An hour, maybe two, and you're
That's
out.
what makes it work.
But but the whole day thing is like hard. And it's weird because everyone's, especially out here on the West Coast, especially in LA, everyone's on the upgrade. What could be cooler?
Yeah.
What else did I miss out on? It sucks. Like, you can't just be like, I'm going to go do this thing and enjoy it because everyone's still looking for the next thing.
By the way, speaking of going and watching old movies, that's a huge trend right now.
Yeah.
In that, maybe not of people watching them, but of that showing up because the theater is doing so poorly that you have like, Fathom and all these people are saying, hey, we're going to do that. So this morning, I literally bought tickets to go see the 40th anniversary of Rad.
Oh, yeah.
Drew Jones BMX film in 4K. Because when I was a kid, I never saw it in the theaters. Like it was like a cult classic. I saw it probably on a bootlegged VHS tape or something, right? So, and I went to go. I was like, oh, I need to book these tickets. I got the ad for it.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to go book these. Like, I hope I didn't miss out. And I opened it up, and there was not a single seat sold because I could like buy the actual seat. So I bought a couple tickets. If you want to come, it's the end of the month. But
it's the thing is like that's just everyone's like, oh, I'll just watch it at home. Blah, blah, blah. Like whatever, dude. It's a bummer. Like it just trickled down. Everyone feels that way about like you can stream any. Remember the thing about streaming too. I don't want to get on this tangent, but I will about watch whatever you want, anytime you want, forever. And guess what? No, everybody has licensing on different platforms. It sucks. So I've been going out every time I go to a thrift store or a record spot and they have DVDs. I'm just scooping them all up because I'm thinking about just making my own server and running off a Plex and just have everything on its redundant drives and screw it. I'm just going to run my own thing in the house because it's such a bummer.
No, I get it. Yeah.
And it sucks. But I mean, I don't know, dude. It's just all this, it just makes things have so little value to people.
Well, one thing I want to rewind to is the disposableness of things.
Yes.
Because as someone who creates, it kind of sucks to make things that now feel disposable.
Or it's like very timely and like, that's it.
To like spend time, like, again, I was at Ice Race. I made this quick little video for the guys at PPI. And it's like, it'll go up and within 12 hours, no one cares anymore. Like you're on to the next thing.
Because we're all been trained.
Yeah.
Next thing. And it sucks.
And it's hard to put a lot of time into making something that is just not going to be enjoyed that way.
Well, I make artwork.
Yeah.
That I paint pictures and I either don't show people or I barely talk about it because I know it's not, the people who follow me want to see car stuff
Yeah.
And they'll want to see like, oh, you made this cool design that they can wear. They're not there to like, not all of them. There's some people who do buy my prints, stuff like that. And it's cool. I appreciate everyone who does that because it shows another level of engagement and they feel like they're supporting in a different way, right? But it's like sucks is that when you make something like that and you know that people are like, oh, that's cool. That's how everyone is now. Like you have to do a dance or be caught like on fire or something ridiculous. And now with all the slop, I'm going to call it slop. I don't care what Microsoft says.
It's fucking slop. Fuck AI.
Garbage. And like now that's what gets people to stop and look is ridiculous stuff.
And the sad thing is I think there's a lot of people out there that you're hearing say, oh, this stuff isn't good. Like no one cares. People don't really want slop. But if you look at the metrics, the slop is winning.
Yeah.
Like, and it is oversaturating the space, right? And there's only so many hours of the day that eyeballs can watch content. So, you know, we were lucky with the Hoonigan thing. And I think that this is something we don't talk about much, but it's like we were there before the market got oversaturated.
Yes.
So like we got there, we weren't first. A lot of other people doing it before us. Roadkill was doing it before us. Mighty Car Mods was doing it before us. Donut was doing it before us. Granted, a different style, but they were then what that made them famous. But they were doing it. You know, 1320. There was a bunch of people who were Haggard. There was a ton of people who were doing it before us. One of the reasons we won was we just did a lot more of it.
Well, that and also it was very relatable.
Yeah, but still, we were lucky that we were there at a certain time.
Yeah.
Right? And it was the right time. Now it's like there's so many automotive creators who are making great content. I mean, there's a bunch of like I'll like randomly show up on someone's YouTube page because I searched something and I'll watch it. I'm like, oh, this is really good. Like I had no idea this person even existed. And then I'll like click in and I'm like, wow, this person has 300,000 followers and I am unaware of who they are. Where rewind back to 2019 and I knew everybody who was making content. I probably had their phone numbers, right? Like it was such a smaller world. So that became harder, it became more and more to watch. And now AI has come in and will just duplicate that number by like, and all of a sudden the real creators will become 30% and 70% of the content out there will be AI generated content. And at that point, even just swimming through the slop to get to good content will be fatiguing.
I don't think people even go that far. I think they'll just drop out and go like, cool, I'm just going to.
Yeah. Well, do you think that brings back though a return to like, do you think there will be this return maybe to something that feels more analog or something that feels more tangible?
100%.
I mean, you talk about your daughter, and I think you have an interesting perspective because you have a child who's young and is sort of, I mean, what is she? She's Z-Gen or A-Gen? A-Gen, right?
Yeah, she'd be.
Yeah, or Gen A, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, so Alpha. So that she actually does see an interest in something that's tangible again.
Because
is that because of you? Or
yes, because of me. Because she goes in the studio and like she just found out recently, like, oh, you did. I've worked in the music industry.
Right.
I did those. I did the packaging for that. I did that stuff. It's like, oh, so she goes in my studio and they're like, there's all my records. I've been buying records since I was 13. I still have them all. I still buy records, right? I never stopped. It wasn't cool. It was just like, that's what I wanted to do, right? Like I recently replaced the battery in my iPod. I know everyone's talking about this stuff. Like, yeah, it's still digital, but there's no algo. I control it and I run. It's all music I want to hear. And I'm not, feeding some corporation. I know this is a bunch of old guys sitting on a porch now, rocking and complaining about shit, but it's true.
Yeah, but I think there's some things that I enjoy about new technology, and I'll admit it, right? I think there's some things that are great. Like I like GPS navigation.
It's great because
right?
I show my kids a Thomas guide. They're like, "What is this?"
Yeah, and like MapQuest was like miserable. Remember, you like print out pages, you have to go somewhere. Although I still do enjoy. I do enjoy, like, for me, it was Rand McNally. Thomas, I feel like, is more of like a 100% thing. But still, like, I still enjoy the fact that, like, I know how to read a map, which sounds so crazy to think of that as a skill set. But today it is.
But the power goes out.
Yo, Hurt.
You could do it.
When we first started at Hoonigan, Hurt took navigation to my house, because we had the downtown LA office, to my house in Venice. He took navigation there every day. And I'm like, Hurt, don't you, like, haven't you just figured out how to get to my house? He's like, no, every day it takes me slightly different based on traffic. I was like, do you think you could get to my house today without this? And he's like, no, absolutely not. I was like, wait, you just don't know how to get to my house? She's like, no, I just listen to whatever the GPS tells me. And I was like, that's interesting.
I'm not knocking technology.
No.
There's a lot of things that technology has done that made things great.
Yeah.
It's made people's lives better. It's enriched us. But there's certain things I think is better.
Yeah.
That should just be done.
Is there any
analog.
part of AI that you think is good?
I'm super disappointed. I shouldn't say this. It's not really fair. People are so happy to say I use it every day. It makes every decision in my life. And I find that to be sad that you can't even make a simple decision.
Right.
But that is their choice, right? I think if it's going to cure cancer, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
If it's going to make certain things easier, like on the art side, there's certain things that have been implemented that like, okay, I don't have to path out a person or this. That's cool. That saved me like 3 hours. That's cool.
Yeah.
But when it tells me like, this is what you should be making, or when people tell me like, well, we're just going to use AI to make these designs because it will just tell.
Ugh.
But here's the thing. Clients never know what they want. So
Yeah.
I'm not worried
Well,
about
that's
it.
the old joke, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, it's like AI is not going to take your job because the client didn't know what they wanted to begin with.
100%. So I think there's some benefits to it, but I think people are relying on it too much, and it's really getting shoved down everyone's throat.
Yeah.
And are seeing it's only a handful of companies, and just seeing they're just doing this.
So there's an account that has been popping up. I don't remember what it was called, but there's an account that's been popping up in my feed of AI like designed cars. And like we lived through this already with the renders. And look, there's some like I love Kaiza. There's some really cool stuff he's developed. It always sort of lived in a world where I knew it was a render.
Yeah.
But there's this new one that's been showing up in my feed, and you may have seen it. This account was posting like slammed Veracrosses, like a slammed Veracross, and the photos make it look real, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, that's really cool. And then I quickly looked at like the name of the account and realized like, oh, this is just like AI generation. And it's still cool. It's a cool design. I would have liked it more if, maybe if Kaiza had designed it. But there's something about it where I almost feel like I don't like I want to see the car in real life, but I probably never will. But it doesn't even matter to people because like the idea almost feels fully executed. Where and like to try to really, because I'm thinking through this for the first time in my life right now on the pod. Back in the day, like if you were designing a car, and I've been involved in designing a lot of cars, right? Everything from unicorn to shit car. You would start with like a sketch.
Whoa. Shit car is a design?
I mean,
maybe the last generations of it, but not the previous ones.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, we designed a livery at least for it,
in the parking lot with blue tape.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Tape, it's fine.
But no, I think we actually did a drawing. I think the first one, like, it was like a quick sketch. It was like a napkin sketch.
Yeah, I have it. Yeah.
But my point is that you sit there and you see it go through the render phase, and then when you see it finally become real life, it feels like that was the purpose there. But now there's all this stuff that gets built that like never will see real life, or never gets created to it, and sort of like takes away a bit for me of like as much as I would love to see that Veracruz, I know that AI built it. I know that, or Veracross, or whatever the hell it is. I know that like AI built it. I know that none of the proportions actually make sense. I know none of that was taken into consideration as to like how it would work. And I know like no one has the intention of building it because it was too easy to make and just kind of throw out there. And it sort of takes away the reward of like if someone actually went to go build it.
But it's the same thing though, right? See, the access is too easy. There's actually no reward. There's nothing to it. It's just air. It's a moment of your attention that's on to the next one.
Yeah.
So like when people are actually out blocking cars and making fiberglass or doing whatever and building it, it's cool, right? Yeah. But now you can literally have like, oh, give me 40 more iterations of this same design.
Right.
And are they ever going to make it?
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if it's like, because in the last podcast, I had Jared Hildebrand on and we were talking about motorsports and how like the modern day racing sort of removes the human element because it's all about the machine. It's no longer about the driver, right? It's all about, how good is the aerodynamics? How good is the traction control? How good is the machine?
Not like the old back in the
day when you're watching a driver collect something as like it steps out on a corner. Mm-hmm. It's about the driver's ability to connect. We're not saying that the current drivers aren't as good as those old drivers, but we're saying that the machines don't show that anymore. You don't get to see that piece of it, right? And I think in the same aspect of what we're talking about here, it's like, it's sort of the same thing where like, that thing looks really cool, but a computer thought it up. And, and for some reason, for me, that's dismissed over someone like a Kaisel going through the process of, you know, painstakingly designing a corner or doing this or tweaking that or doing that versus going in and saying, okay, this thing has access to God knows how many images and just takes it all and says, okay, well, this is what we know people like. And then we're going to build there and then we're going to create that. And that is very algorithmic in itself. Like AI in many ways, like any large language model is an algorithm. So the biggest issue I have with algorithms in content is that they flatten the creative curve. Because once something works, and then they just keep making the thing that works. And you'll notice with the Netflix, you'll start to notice like, man, all these shows start to kind of feel the same.
Well, they are. Look at thumbnails on YouTube.
Right.
When yellow became a color, guess what?
And we did it.
Yeah.
Because it worked better.
Yeah. But
then everybody does it. So I mean, the thumbnail for this show is a yellow variation. It's like a yellow green. Yeah.
But so the thing is like the craft is pulled away. But if you see the person doing it, cool.
Right.
You can justify like, okay, someone took time in that.
Yeah.
That's how Sabal is too. Sabal like will take his time doing stuff.
Yeah.
He does a lot of stuff for Liberty Walk. And that's like, you know, pretty gnarly stuff. So it's just interesting, like if you don't know that, and here's the thing, as more of these accounts keep getting generated, because they're probably not even run by an actual person at all, that just steps further away from the craft. And people don't even realize like there might even, some people, kids might grow up and they like never know that someone actually physically made something by hand to go on something.
Right.
Because you could be like, oh, we'll put it in the machine kicks it out, then the machine can expand to it to make the 3D model, then they could be kicked out to be rapid prototyped.
Right.
You know? I mean, there's nothing wrong with the idea of it evolving. It's just like, if we take too much of the people out of it.
Well, and I think that's where it is for me. It's like, by the way, this Veracross was dope.
Like no, I'm not saying
like it makes me want to go build it. But at the same time, yeah, there's like this feeling like this weird, like it's, and I don't know, maybe I'm just old, but like I want to know that humans are involved in the process. Right?
So like that's where, so I feel like modern, I don't want to call it tuner culture, but that's what you would probably, if you said that, people would, okay, understand that. If you go back to lowriding or you go to custom culture, like my buddy E-Dog he just did a twisted grill out of like bars, and this dude's 65 El Camino, and he bent everyone, torched it and bent it all right by hand. And that's cool. I appreciate it because I know, here's the thing, maybe I'm just getting stuck on it, is like I'm appreciating his process of taking his time to do it. And I know it's like, that's not something you just and just knock it out. It's like you spend time on it. And I appreciate that more. It's like watching someone do like pinstriping or something. It's like, I appreciate that because it's something, and it can be imperfect. That's what makes it human.
I saw this thing the other day. I thought it was interesting. It said, if you work with your hands, you're a laborer. If you work with your hands and your brain, you're a craftsman. If you work with your hands, your brain, and your heart, you're an artist. And like, it's kind of cliche, but I think that like in a time today where everything is starting to move to how fast can we make it, like the heart is very often not included, and the brain has been replaced by the computer, and like no one's building with their hands. So it's like, what even is that anymore that we have? And I think that this is an interesting time for us to be in, because I can't help but feel like when these things become so disposable and you don't care about them anymore, now there's just something like, what do you care about?
Well, that's, I think that's where we're at right now, right?
My 6-year-old this morning asked Ashley like what a hobby is.
Because everyone's been taught to monetize your hobbies to make it your profession.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly, I mean, you're jumping the punchline on this. And I said, I have lots of hobbies. And he's like what? And I was like, well, cars. And he said, that's your job. And I was like, yeah, I guess that kind of is. But I think like the hobby, like where does your hobby go if everything becomes too easy? Like making it, like for me, I enjoy the struggle that cars are. I do.
I
enjoy the struggle.
You enjoy having a dead battery, but because you have so many of things around, to like, you need so much stimulation in your life.
Yeah, for sure.
That it's hard for you to focus in. Like when you laser in on something, it's rad. And I'm excited for you. Like this podcast right here is something you talked about probably 6 8 years,
Easily.
right? And I remember the studio was set up.
Yeah.
And
we built a small studio
Yeah.
in the original 621.
Mhm.
We did a podcast with Tony Angelo as a test pod.
Yeah.
And then it never went anywhere. Well,
But-
Tony got the job at Motor Trend.
Plus,
right?
also, podcasting was still a very fringe thing. It wasn't like how it is now.
yeah.
But I'm proud of
Now
you that
every white dude with a beard has one. So
it's great.
they just hand them out.
Yeah, I don't have one. I'm just guessing. But I'm glad you did that because that's something that you've always wanted to do. You love talking.
Mhm.
So it's perfect for you. So I'm sure people have already told you that about that, but and said that to you. But I'm glad that you got to go through that, and it's still adjacent to the hobby, and you get to talk to all these people because you have such your Rolodex. That's a super old term, but it's so full of people that you can call on to do that and share that with you. It's awesome. So I'm really stoked for you on that.
And one of the things too, as we're getting into this, a lot of people have asked me like, "Hey, why the podcast?" And one is that it's actually the medium that I mostly, consume, right? Like I mostly consume other podcasts. So it's like I'm making something that's similar to what I consume. But two, in this moment where everything is becoming as short form as possible, this is one of the few long form things that is working.
It's true.
Right? Like this pod may very well be 2+ hours. And when you look at the graph of people listening to this, the fall off is minimal. Like once they're locked in, they listen to the end. And it's like, and I love seeing that out of a current day audience, which isn't just like, I'm in for 30 seconds and I'm out.
Yeah, but
Right.
everyone's been conditioned to be.
I know.
It's so gnarly.
I
When
know.
you see people at the light, it just turned red on their phone. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? And then the light turns green and they're still locked into the next. Oh, I mean, whatever. But yeah, I'm glad to
We're
hear
definitely
that, though.
two old guys complaining about the future or the
It's
present
not- it's
day.
the present.
But I do it because I enjoyed what came with a slower way of consuming content years ago than what I do now. Like I think the best thing I ever heard is social media is junk food.
Totally.
Right? It's junk food, and it makes you feel full while you're scrolling it very quickly, but you don't feel satiated, and it's not like a real meal, right?
Mhm.
And I can scroll and I've done it. Like I'll be the first to admit, I could scroll Instagram for hours and hours and hours, and when I'm done, it feels like dirty. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, oh,
You
why
go take a
did
shower now
yeah,
and
you're
go
like,
cry in the corner.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
why did I do that, right? And
Because it's easy.
but if I went and watched a really good film, or even an okay film, or even a bad film, but I got to go watch this work that someone put into making this thing, and you walk away from it, you're like, oh, okay, that was like I felt like that was time well spent.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where that difference is because like I'm still sitting there fixated on a screen.
But it's a different
But
experience.
It's a different experience. It's different way of consuming story, right? And I think that's one of the things I like about the pods, and not just my podcast, but anyone's podcast, is like it's one of the few things that's still breaking through that people will listen to for a long time. And one of the interesting things about this one is I think there's a lot of people who listen to this that haven't listened to pods before. They found this because of my connection to Hoonigan and that type of content. And they're the ones who always reach out to me being like, I was just going to listen to a few minutes and then all of a sudden 3 hours passed by. But I'm stoked that I got to hear that.
But that's good though.
Right.
Because you could deliver something that people could actually get invested in. Because I
Right.
think that's the problem is that I really like the ritual of things. Like when I put
you were very ritualistic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my thing though. Because
Yeah.
to me, it's like I'm gonna go be creative. I have my way of doing it, and I get myself prepared for it.
Right.
Like if I want to go listen to a record, I'm putting it on a turntable and I'm gonna listen to it. Right?
Yeah.
Even if I don't work.
And I probably have never said this to you, but you live the life that my brain wishes it did. Right. And I don't even say that as a joke. Like I remember once we were sitting in like a meeting and, and for everyone who's listening, John joined Hoonigan early, even though it didn't feel like early to me because you weren't there in the first 2 or 3 years, but you were there when we were still in downtown LA.
Yeah.
So you came with us to the move to Long Beach. You were there before we did anything on YouTube outside of the Gymkhana films or small one-offs or something like that. So like you really were there, and you were there, and when we we did Power Tour. I mean, you and I are the reason together why we did Power Tour, and that Power Tour was the case study for could we go do more content and should we go do more things as us instead of like just supporting the Kens, BJ Baldwins, Ryan Turks, Chris Forsbergs, and so on, right? But anyway, I was sitting next to you in the meeting and I looked at your to-do list and it was broken down by times.
Yes.
And it wasn't even just like in the 5-minute interval. It was like, I think it was even less. It was like 8:43 a.m. this. And I wish I could do that, but you are very ritualistic in the way you do things. I am not, unfortunately. Like my life is absolute chaos in how I make everything.
But you like that. You thrive in it.
I don't think I like it. I think I am good at it. And I apologize to Teague about this at one point because Teague was so stressed about something. And I said, look, I'm sorry. I do so well in chaos that sometimes I feel like I create chaos just because it's like what I'm good at, right? It's like, for example, it's like to compare it to like MMA. It's like if I'm a grappler, like I'm going to bring you to the ground. It's like, well, if I'm a chaos goblin, I'm going to create chaos for everybody so that I am very good in this situation.
Because
right?
what it is for you is that you can focus on that chaos and work through it.
Oh, I am good in chaos. Actually, it's part of the ADHD thing.
Yeah.
It's like it creates the dopamine, the fear, the
urgency.
Because adrenaline and dopamine are similar drugs. They can be kind of swapped out. So it's like I can just use the adrenaline to do what I need to get done. And you add chaos and fear and all these things, and you're like, oh, cool. This is what brings me to life, right? Where that didn't work for you at all. Like I think that was actually problematic for you because you knew every day what you were going to do when you got
I
to
know
the
what I'm
building.
doing next week at this time.
I know. It's why it's been so hard to book you for this pod because every time
I'm booked out.
You're booked out.
But here's the thing is like that's how I can function and be like, I'm done working for the day. I can go home and go be dad, be husband.
Yeah.
And
that's I think the part that I'm most jealous of.
Because that's for me success now.
Right. Oh, hey everybody. Here we are for another Storytime interruption brought to you by my good friends at FCP Euro. If you're at all familiar with my build, you know that I'm not really good at, let's just say this, I'm the king of scope creep. I had an Audi Coupe Quattro that I was going to build into a 500 horsepower driver. It was a pretty simple, established recipe to do this. But no, instead, I decided to make it into a 1,000 plus horsepower race car that still doesn't run. The bad news is I also scope creep maintenance. The other day, went for a nice drive in the RS2. It was a spirited one, hit some canyon roads. Everything was great till I went around one corner and I heard a very familiar clunk. This clunk to Volkswagen and Audi, guys, is nothing other than a blown strut bearing. It happens a lot, especially when driving slammed cars. And while most people would probably be dismayed at the tedious task ahead of them, not I. I saw this as an opportunity. Yeah, an opportunity to finally fix that clicking CV joint. Get after the bushings or the brakes that needed an overhaul. Head on over to FCP Euro and just fill the cart with everything I can find underneath suspension, brakes, and even steering. Hey, why not? And, then take apart other parts of the car and probably never put it back together. This is kind of what I'm known for. If you too are like this, you can go to fcpeuro.com and scope creep even the most basic maintenance. FCP Euro doesn't judge. They'll be your plug to this horrible bad habit we have.
Because that's for me success now.
Right.
Because I was like, I've worked with a lot of brands. I've been really fortunate to work on brands that have become madder in the space. Famous, no matter what anyone says about it. And Travis.
Just for the people who are listening who don't know, I was just list some of the, or all the brands, or a lot of the brands that you've worked or had a major part working with.
So
it's a pretty impressive list.
I mean, it's wild because here's the thing. I never stopped to think about it until my kids started asking me about it.
Right.
So I was an industrial rubber hose sales guy. I worked as a driver and an assembler making hydraulic hose and concrete hose. I did that for 8 years. I was an outside sales guy. I got the opportunity to go start the apparel world by my buddy Max Gramajo. He was working at Famous Stars and Straps at the time for Travis Barker. I gave myself 1 calendar year. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to try this. If I don't make it, I'm going to sit in my cubicle and sell water hose and concrete hose till I can't do it anymore. 6 months, I got my job. I quit that ASJ. I walked out and go, hey, I'm leaving. I'm giving you 15 minutes. and I went to go work at a place. I didn't sign any paperwork. I did not.
You're giving 15 minutes?
After I worked there 8 years, I gave 15 minutes. But my boss, who's the owner, Alan Wakefield's like, I know this is what you want to do. I'm totally cool with it.
Yeah.
Right? I walked. I go to Famous. Don't sign anything. Don't even know I'm going to get paid. Don't even know what's happening. I go sitting there. I didn't know. I only used Photoshop. I didn't use Illustrator. I taught myself Illustrator over the weekend. And then that's what I've been using all the time, basically, to this day. But like I worked with Famous Stars and Straps. I left there, started Dstroyr with my own thing. I've worked with Maesto doing product design, which led me to working with other diecast companies. I worked with Hot Wheels recently, did a collab with them. I've done stuff with UFC. I've done, Hoonigan was another cultural thing. Like that was mattered in the space, really. So I've had that opportunity. Currently, I'm working with DBK, which is Dirt Bike Kids, which is Twitch, Jeremy Stenberg.
Yep.
Like they were great. It has very early Famous days and energy of Hoonigan.
I could see that. Yeah, Twitch is great.
Super nice guy, and they know exactly who they are, which is really awesome. Okay, and I'm trying to think. I don't know, man. I'm like blanking right now because it's been a lot. Like I worked in the music industry. I've worked like Jermaine Dupri would fly in, sit next to me. I would go through his ideas. I did the collab with So Def and Famous when he came back, and this is when I got big timed. I'm like, he got like 20 boxes of stuff. I'm like, how are you gonna check that? He's like, what? PJ. Like the airport's right there. You can see out the window. Like, oh, big timing. But it was like that stuff. And Little John hanging out. Like he wanted to make white kid like punk rock clothes. It was so weird. Like I've had a lot of interactions with people through the years, and I don't know. I've been fortunate. I've been the right place, right time. But I think what it is for me is like my organization is what I bring to the table, and the design stuff is like secondary. Because almost every brand I've worked with is a bunch of people who have no experience in what they're doing. Yeah. I'm like gravitate towards that. And once the brand starts to really take shape and the suits show up,
you leave.
That's when I leave.
You left at the right time. You left Hoonigan at the right time.
Because I knew what was going to happen. There's no way.
You could have told me. I think you kind of did, but
but here's the thing. It's like, I just know it can't. The passion, those brands that have passion like that, when suits show up, they don't understand it. Yeah. They just want to, I don't want to say exploit it. They want to leverage it the most they can and make as much as they can. Like for my career right now at 23 years, I've done over $200 million in like revenue for these companies and still growing every day.
Yeah.
So it's pretty wild. So it's just like, it's been a crazy ride for me so far. I'm actually kind of surprised I'm still able to do it, because you sat me down like, oh, you're not going to be doing this forever. There's no way. Like your role is going to change and things are going to change. And I'm like, I don't know. And I haven't.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate. I don't know how much longer they're going to be like, hey, old guy, can you make cool stuff? It's hard to like think about it. Like I make stuff for like teenagers.
Yeah.
And they like, oh.
And you're a lot older than you look too. I don't want to.
No, man, the gray's starting to come in.
I don't want to dox your age, but you're definitely a lot older. So.
Yeah. But not bad. It's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying that, like, I think a lot of people pass you for like being my age or younger, and you're obviously not. So
yeah, which
I didn't realize. You were like working at Hoonigan for like a year before someone's like, "Wait," I was like, "What?" I didn't know John Chase was that old.
Yeah. Anyways, it's fine. Like me and Nads are like right in the same age group, basically.
Yeah. But Nads looks old.
Nads has had a hard life. So like, yeah. I don't know. I can't remember where we even started with this conversation right now.
I was kind of trying to bring some. I think it's interesting because you have had a chance to do all this really cool stuff, and you didn't come into it in the regular path.
No.
And now, because you said so much in the opening of this, I'm just trying to go back to some of those things and bring them back up. And it's like, I think it's interesting to see how fast everything's moving, and I think that we don't get to enjoy it because it moves so fast, and that speed is what creates the disposableness of it. But I think one of the other things that you brought up early on was just this like lack of tangibility, that like things just don't feel as whatever, and cultures are also so crossed and blended that where do you even pull inspiration from anymore? Because it's all one thing. Like it's so, when we were growing up, and this is an interesting thought that I was thinking about the other day, we grew up in like the Monolith kind of concept, right? Like in that episode of Roseanne Barr where John Goodman goes and beats up the dude for beating up her sister.
Yep.
We all remember that. See, I brought up, we all remember that moment. You probably have goosebumps about it, right? And then he goes and gets arrested, like, you know, and like that.
Dan goes to jail.
Yeah. And it's like everybody remembered that moment because we all watched it together. Right now, that doesn't exist anymore.
Nope.
We all live in different rabbit holes. We all see different things. But in a weird way, like things that used to feel unique, like art and design, now feel monolithic. Like now feel like the same to me. Like those actually don't feel as separated as they did when I was younger. Like it feels like it all just sort of blends, right? Like I look at streetwear, I look at car culture stuff, I look at this, it's like, and it's all the same now. Where like when you and I were designing stuff for Hoonigan, like our stuff didn't look like Diamond.
No.
Right? Like Diamond was the number one selling thing. Now Diamond stuff looks like what our stuff used to, if they even exist. But like DG, I don't know. Sorry, Nikki. But like, I'm not sure where they're at these days. But like, but DGK is a good example. I remember one point DGK wanted to do a collab with Hoonigan.
Yeah, I went down there and talked to them.
Yeah, and Ken shut it down.
Yeah.
Right? And he was like, the reason he shut it down was because he was like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, they're a skateboard brand. Like, what are we doing with them? Like, why is that going to happen? Right. And, you know, and it wasn't, he loved Kalis. He loved Stevie. He loved all those dudes, but it didn't make sense to him at the moment.
Well, he also said, I don't want to be a culture vulture.
Right. Well, that was he had a rule, which I think, unfortunately, Hoonigan has since broke, which was that we would never put Hoonigan on a skateboard.
Yeah, and I did it.
What?
I did it when we did those like the Hoonicorn boards. They were up at Wahoo's, and he found out.
Yeah, but that was that was like a one-off Wahoo's thing. But that was the reason for the DGK thing, was he didn't want Hoonigan to end up on a skateboard because it didn't make sense to him. Yeah. To him, DGK was a skateboard company. We were a car company, and he felt like it was almost like him leveraging his skateboard roots to like put Hoonigan in that space, and he felt like it was unauthentic.
100%.
But now it's like, I mean, how many skateboards do you see that everybody has of their car brands on skateboards?
No, it's
all just like, it's all this like weird blend to me, which in some ways is like, I guess there's a coolness to it, but it's like when you get far enough down making like a soda suicide where it all just tastes the same.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you put enough flavors in and it just becomes like blah.
Remember this conversation we had with Ken? It was a Toyo Hoonigan shirt. And we couldn't have Hoonigan on the tire because we don't make tires.
Yeah. Yeah. He was
Captain Literal sometimes.
Ken was very, very literal about that kind of stuff.
But it's okay though, because I think I had this conversation with someone recently. They asked about working with Ken.
In the end, didn't we put Hoonigan in the smoke?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Which worked.
Which was good.
Sense. Yeah.
And it made sense. And I think I had this conversation with somebody about Ken. I go, you know what really helped me is when Scotto suggested getting Agents of Change, which is a great book.
Yeah.
It gives you a clue into his mind of how he saw the world and how he saw how opportunities were there. And it was just, it was such a good thing. I bought copies to leave for everybody. I don't think anyone in the art department read it, but it was still there.
It is a fantastic story. It helps you understand Ken. One of the Ken things is interesting. You brought this up because you definitely, of all people, saw the wrath of Ken's creative critique.
Bro, I almost quit in 2018. I had to fly to Park City for a 50-minute meeting with him. Yeah. That wasn't even something that we could have FaceTimed.
Could have been an email.
Could have been an email. He shows up. We look at some things. I can't remember what it was. I sat at the airport for 6 hours for my flight home. Yeah. I was like, this just happened. This will never happen again.
Yeah. It's funny because I always say whenever after Ken passed, there's like a lot of people who sort of have, and I won't name names, but who've sort of kind of been like, oh, Ken was such a mentor to me. He was so inspirational. And I was like, you never worked with Ken.
I know who you're talking about.
We won't say names.
No names.
But my point is that if you worked with Ken, Ken was one of the best mentors in the world, but he was, and he taught me 80% of what I know. And the other 20% of what I know, he put a lens on, right? And helped me understand it. And I think one of the things that Ken liked about me was I fought with him, right? Most people wouldn't. And I would fight with Ken and argue with him on things. But he made me, those arguments were strong because those arguments fortified my ideas. Like the concept of bulletproofing was something that Ken was really into. I was really into it as well. And I know that was really painful for a lot of other people, in the creative space because it's like, hey, I've got this really great idea. And I'm like, do you?
Yeah.
Let's tear it apart. Because if we don't, someone else will, right? And like that was that thing. But you saw it firsthand because like Ken was really difficult to work with.
I wouldn't. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. He knew he was, but at the same time, I give this man credit because he knew what he wanted.
100%.
He had an experience in the design side of things. He went to school for that.
Yeah.
So he could say things like this, and he could say why,
100%.
which is the greatest thing because he could say like, I don't like it because of this. And like, cool.
Yeah.
Everybody else, this is what we don't do.
Yeah.
But that's great because then we can move on to things he did like. Because like the last thing I did with him was the It's a Living stuff. That was like 80 pieces.
Yeah, it was.
That was narrowed down from like 200. And that ended up being, for me, is one of my favorite. I didn't do the artwork. I just connected
you're just
the dots.
manipulating someone else's art.
Yeah, but I connected dots. I brought because that project was gone because COVID hit and I brought it back. And I was like, that's some of my most favorite stuff to ever work on.
Yeah.
Just because it was a t-shirt, it was a Modernica chair, it was everything in between. It was, granted, that last piece, probably a little out of the box, definitely was out of the box, but he knew what he wanted and we could make that happen for him. That's like that's probably that's definitely one of my favorite collections ever.
The Modernica chair was my fault, but yeah.
But it's okay though. I never got one because I had the sample.
Really?
I got the sample and Ken needed to shoot with it, so I took it out of the studio and gave it to him. Like, oh, maybe I'll grab one.
I may have a spare for you.
That'd be so sick. I'd be pumped.
You deserve one. Other people have asked me for them, but you deserve one of the spares. Yeah. So when I was leaving, there was a couple, and I grabbed them. So because I had the ones in my office, so I took those when I left.
Okay.
So
that'd be rad. But so like working with Ken was challenging, but I will say I've worked with other people in the past. I'm not going to say names.
I know those names,
but very difficult because they don't have their true north. They don't know exactly what it is.
But as a creative, did you find me difficult to work with?
100%.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I think good creativity has friction.
It has to.
It has to.
So here's the thing is like, I remember you and I early in the days would spend a lot of time together.
Yeah, it was better then. It was better.
Well, it was easier because it was
I will admit I was very absent dad in the latter years because I was just there were too many things going on.
No. Day one, I show up, I pull the door open. I think I'm going to go HRD. It's a dirty warehouse. Napalm's over there before it's napalm. Twerkstein's over there in pieces. The Hoonicorn's underneath a tarp. And then Scotto's gone for a month because he's helped editing Gym 7.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. I wasn't there at all in the first month. Yeah.
So it was like a bait and switch. But we got to work together on a lot of great stuff. Yeah. Like the Reaper was really great.
I was just going to say Reaper is probably one of my favorite early things we did. Reaper was really good.
Here's the best part is I never got paid for Reaper and Creature of the Hoon.
Wait, really?
Never got paid. It was a freelance gig. I had to prove myself. These dudes...
You were supposed to get paid though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
These dudes didn't think I could do all the artwork. I showed my portfolio. So I remember the sketch. It was on my tablet and I was watching Gunnar and Penny when she was like 2 years old running around the backyard and I drew Creature of the Hoon. And then, the invoice never got paid.
Sorry, that was DeMars's fault. I was never involved with paying people. That wasn't something they trusted me with.
But that was like, we had those ideas. And I remember we did the pinstripe shirt and everyone called it the dad shirt. Because at the time, no one was doing left chest and big back. It was all front hit still.
Yeah, front hit was still really big. Yeah, we moved into that.
Which is now, front hits are back now.
Yeah, it's classic.
But it was interesting. Like, we would go to Joshua Tree and spend like 12 hours, 24 hours.
I missed that. We'd do the actual creative meetings.
We would do the entire year.
Yeah.
And we would execute everything.
Yeah. We're about an hour into the pod, and this was actually the thing I wanted to start talking about. Mm-hmm. Like, because, I always we keep these somewhat loose, but I always have a few things. And the things I wanted to bring up was inspiration. Because I think it's one thing that you and I you're really big about in creative. I think some people like creativity just comes from their brain. I am like an inspiration person. It's actually one of the reasons why I do not watch automotive content.
I don't watch it either.
Because I never wanted to be inspired by something in my own space. Like I wanted to be inspired by something else or something that came before it. Like even the car stuff that I have consumed is like Car and Driver from the early 70s, right? Like there was, or I would go back and I would look at hot rodding from a certain era, right? Obviously you were there, but I got heavy into traditional hot rodding.
Oh yeah.
Because it, to me, there was something so cool about it. And if you go and if you looked through the years of design that we did, you can see the eras of when Scotto was really into traditional hot rodding because like that,
Coffin racers.
Coffin racers. Coffin racers was one of them, but another one was I think which ended up becoming the number one selling T-shirt of all time was the cheater slicks. Because that was, and I know it was your design, but it was like we were in that world. Like you and I were living in this world. Remember the cheater slick shirt?
Yeah, but cheater slicks.
It was very simple and very clean.
So that
which was what I was into at the moment.
That actually wasn't mine. I'm giving a shout. That was Chris's.
Oh, really?
But he took the wheel and the burnout from Carcane, which was me pushing it way too far. Because Ken got, bro, you went too far. You put 8 lines and a razor blade on the hoodie.
Yeah, we went far. Yeah.
But hey,
yeah,
sometimes you got to push it. And if you knew what it was, come on, Carcane.
Yeah. Well, it was not just Coke lines, but they were done as hash marks.
Yes.
So there was the cross through, right? There was like the 1, 2, 3, 4 cross slice.
Yep.
Which was like the counting. They just happened to be,
Yeah.
But as someone who, the funny thing is for me, like, never am like into Coke. It wasn't my thing. But like, it was like just funny because it tied to the name. It was like, that was like, y'all on it.
Because remember the sticker was in like the hologram. It was the machine.
Because we went real 1970s
100%
aesthetic on that.
So that wheel and tire and the burnout that came off that, Chris used that to put on Cheater Slick.
Oh, okay.
So put it this
way. You
way.
obviously named it Cheater Slick though, because that's such a that's such like a 50s, 60s hot rod.
Yeah. So the naming thing came from when I worked with Travis at Famous, because like we would name things after bands or songs, and I kept wanting to keep that going because it's relative to the culture.
Yeah. I'm a huge namer, obviously.
Yeah.
Napalm Nova. I think I named Try 5 by Fire.
Because the whole idea was like, oh, this car, no problem. 6 months from now, I'll have a car running and driving. Yeah, we shook it down. I drove it to Long Beach once, and we put it on a trailer, and it broke down every day.
You realize that was 11 years ago now.
Yeah. I was so excited, just to stop that for a second. Driving that car that was underneath the freeway in Riverside for like 20 years almost. On like just on blocks, and driving it and smelling like, what is that? Oh, those are trees. And there's no like mini malls and shit everywhere. That was the most moving moment I think I've had in a car in my life.
Do you remember when we first got to, we went, I'll rewind for everyone, because this is actually pre us telling our stories on YouTube. So John joins Hoonigan, and I'm getting into more muscle car hot rod stuff. I'd already bought the Nova, and and you're well aware of this, but for me, it was really hard for us to do something at Hoonigan if somebody wasn't ultra passionate about it. Like one of the reasons why I never got super into drifting is because we had enough other people at the company who were super into drifting, right? Hurt was super into it. Dan was super into it. Lindsay Ross was super into it. Like, there was a bunch of people who were into drifting. So like, I didn't feel like I needed to be the authentic person in that space. Like that was fine. But when we started to push into like the muscle car world, we really wasn't in with the company. You hadn't started working there yet. And I was like, I need to go own a muscle car because I need to own it to understand it. Like I'm one of those people, like I have to delve into it to be a part of it. Because at the time, I'll be honest, I was a German car guy. I spoke in liters, and you know what I'm saying? Like people would talk about cubic inches, and I had no idea what they were talking about. Like I really did. Like in car culture, I was always into either newer cars or European or Japanese cars. So it's like people would just be like rattling off like things. I'd be like, okay, whatever. Like I don't know. Like it doesn't really relate to me because I can't do the quick math in my head to be like, oh, that's a 6.7 liter. Like holy shit, that's huge, right? But I think like when you came, there was finally someone else at Hoonigan and also Eddie, right? Eddie Longshore.
Yeah, Longshore.
So it's like Eddie was one of those dudes who like, he's really a big part of what got me into American cars in the States. But, because I moved to California and I was like, okay, I'm a Euro car guy, but I'm living in California, and for some reason I have this massive attraction to like hot rods and muscle cars. Like I don't know what it is, but I was in Venice for 4 days before I thought to myself, I think I need one of those. He pushed that when we started doing more stuff, and he was like, I think he was like employee number 2 or 3 at Hoonigan, because he was the guy who packaged and shipped everything out back in the day, and he was really obviously into American car stuff. But then when you came, it was like, okay, we're gonna do Power Tour together.
Yeah, here's the real thing that happened. So Scotto and I had met each other through Jared Deanda is the one who introduced us at FD.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. The first time Hoonigan does FD, I was already doing Dstroyr, right?
Right.
You guys rolled in super late. This is such the Hoonigan thing. Super late, the most elaborate Quonset hut style booth.
That was the bivouac.
The bivouac, sorry.
It was like rusty square tubing that I had we had built into with like corrugated metal top. Like it looked like a real structure because everyone else was doing easy ups.
Well, yeah, and it took. I think you guys got it finished right before the last grade 8 was gonna go.
Sounds about
right? And that's how we met. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then we would see each other at all the shows, like All Enthusiast Day, at Angel Stadium, stuff like that. And that's when you asked me, like, maybe in August, is it probably You're like, hey, if you ever get tired of doing your own thing, we're looking for somebody, right? Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, I think I'm cool. But then things started to like, I just had Penny was around. I'm like, dude, this is getting harder. And here's the thing that no one talks about when you run your own business. It's so much work. You don't have extra time.
No.
You have no extra time. You're like always focused on it.
And the extra time is filled with guilt.
Yes.
Because anytime you're not working on your thing, you
feel
thinking,
bad.
I should be working on my thing.
So when I reached out to you in classic Scotto way, it took like over a month. But you figured you guys were shooting Gymkhana.
Sure, maybe.
And then whatever. And then to get the interview took another month. And it was wild. I should have seen the red flags.
Yeah.
But it's
All
okay. I just wanted to just go in there and just get beat up. So anyways, yeah.
But so you came in, we did, and then we're like, okay, we're going to go do Power Tour.
Yeah.
We both built cars that were not ready for Power Tour.
Oh, my car was, no.
Your car had been off the road for how long?
It was 20 years, but I was working on it before I even joined, right? I wired it in one day, and then I put on those super shorty headers and just drove it to Long Beach because we had moved at that point.
And I I took the Nova down to a bare shell, repainted it, and put it back together in 60 days. And unfortunately, my brain is now wired that I should be able to do that with all of my cars. I have never been as successful on a build as I was with the Nova.
Think about it this way. The car is relatively simple.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a lot.
It was also in an era where there was a lot less to do at Hoonigan. So every single night, like 6 o'clock, everybody would go home and I would work till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning every night on the car.
Yeah.
And it was also in an era where, and this is kind of funny because this has really changed, where people would just come and help.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think once the YouTube thing started becoming jobs for most of the people we knew, nobody wanted to help anyone work on cars anymore because everyone was doing their own. But back then it was like Tony Angelo came by, helped for a couple of days.
Tony Angelo welded in my motor mounts.
Yeah, Colin came by and helped for a couple. Colin actually helped for a ton because he did the whole cage and everything in it. And then like all these different people would swing by if there was like, oh, I got spare time, like I'll swing. I mean, there were guys who like worked. There was one guy who worked at Classic Industries who I didn't even know, who was like, I'm not doing anything this weekend. You can come by and help. I feel like that era of car guy thing is like over where you would just swing by you, at least in our world, because it became business and work for everybody.
Yeah, because they were working on relationships. Like, oh, that's cool. Now it's like, well, I could just go shoot my own content.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which is where we're at.
So anyway, we fast forward. My car was not finished, but we towed it out to Power Tour anyway.
Hey, you're skipping the whole towing experience.
The towing experience was crazy. It is. I mean, there's so much to talk about. This could be its own thing. Like,
okay, maybe we should make it its own thing.
By the way, I thought this the other day. I want to start a podcast called "This is a whole other pod," because whenever I'm on here, I'm always like, that's like a whole other pod. So it's just called the whole other pod, and it just has like this. It's the things that tangent out from these that we never get back to.
So now you can see why it was so hard to work with you sometimes, because you would literally just go off into a whole other direction for hours.
Bro, we've been on like 19 tangents since 15 minutes ago.
But it's okay though, because like my brain now is I can tune into like, okay, I got it.
Yeah, we did a really focused episode a couple back where we just talked about Porsches, and we asked the audience, "Do you prefer focused or the unfocused?" And it's like it was like overwhelmingly unfocused. And I realized I speak to a very specific type of brain.
Yes, which is good though, because that brain probably needs that. They need to be fed that way.
Keep it exciting, yeah. It's like a mystery. You don't know when. You don't know when it's going to end, where it'll end.
So my whole thing is also Porsche, right? That's Porsche, right?
Yeah.
Why do people call it Porsche?
Wait, why?
Yeah. How did that happen? Because you were very adamant. You got mad at someone one time for calling it Porsche.
Yeah.
It's someone's name. You like erupted.
Right. So like, for example, like I don't say Jaguar, which is the British inflection of the word Jaguar. I just say Jaguar because it's not. It's named after an animal.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay for me to say it the Americanized way. I don't say Nissan. I don't say Silica or whatever, Celica.
Celica.
That's it, Celica.
Yeah.
I say Celica, right? Because that's like the way you choose to say it. But if it's someone's name, then you got to say it the right way. Like if I had a car and people were calling it the Scotto instead of the Scotto, that would be incorrect. It's like Porsche is Porsche. That's his name. So yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things I stand on.
Because I've heard people literally.
I was there early. Now it's like I don't even correct people anymore because now I think correcting people on how you say Porsche is just like real douchebaggery. Because the people who now do it, I don't want to be affiliated with. So if you want to call it a porch, I don't give a fuck. But when I was younger as a journalist, it was like that's the right, like Porsche is the right way to say the word. I'll admit when I was a kid, I definitely probably said Porsche at some point, but yeah, as I got like into cars. That's a tangent. Did you just say that because the Porsche's behind us, or is it just random?
I mean, it's just I had that question. I've always heard people say it both ways, and I remember it vividly. You getting pissed at somebody in a meeting,
sure.
But I'm like, okay, it's fine. I get it. So I was just asking.
Yeah.
Tangent 21.
Back to Power Tour. So, I got everything done except for the brake lines, so we couldn't drive my car out. Your car got shipped.
Yes.
We decide we are going to rent an RV.
Great idea.
Because we didn't have enough money for everyone to stay in a hotel room. And I did the math and I was like, well, the RV would be better. Plus, we want to bring some merch with us. And because at the time, like, you know, and I really do mean that this is its whole thing. Because I think that the Power Tour story, both 1 and 2, if Power Tour did not happen, we would have never done Daily Transmission or any of the content we did afterwards.
It was gold. In my opinion.
Because Power Tour, we went and did it, and everyone else at the company was a naysayer. And you probably know this a little bit better than some of the guys who came later on, but like Hoonigan was a really complex company in the early days because it was like Ken and I started it, but Ken was not really there. Right? And then because of like the other people who were involved, there was this feeling that like I needed babysitters. So they always hired other people to help run the company. DeMars, right? David Brooks, right? And all those guys were great, but they definitely were always afraid that like Scotto's going to go do something that's like not necessary or was like over the top.
Impulsive, very impulsive sometimes.
Very impulsive, yeah.
But that's what gives it the energy that like, that's just how it works.
100%.
I'm not denying it. Scotto has the best ideas. Follow through?
Yeah,
whatever.
If I followed through with all of my ideas,
it'd
be insane.
Yeah, you'd be like, man.
Yeah. No, yeah. But like, anyway, so we got like the provisional okay to go do Power Tour because I think got some money from Edelbrock or someone else to try to go make some stuff around it. And we had the smallest possible budget to go do it. I still think in the end, I paid for everyone's gas out of my own pocket because like mine and yours, just because it wasn't in the budget. And I was like, we'll just figure it out. We'll eat it. But it did well. And I remember like you and I both got our cars like featured in like Hot Rod.
Yeah. We
100% expanded into a whole new audience. We brought in this whole world that was unaware of who we were because to them, we were just, we were just like these drift kids or like this, and then this weird connection to Ken Block, which also was not really in the American car world until that year too, because it was around the same time. It was like just after Gymkhana 7 came out. So all of a sudden it's like Hoonicorn was important.
Hoonicorn was on the cover of Hot Rod.
I know. So it's like all of this stuff was like happening at the same time. Right?
It was like the perfect way for Errol to roll out.
Yeah.
It was very organic.
It was. And it was this really kind of rad thing, but it was so valuable. And I say that because like we could spend the next 25 minutes talking about Power Tour, but I think it's almost a disservice. For years, even while we were making content, we kept talking about, we need to do the Power Tour conversation. We need to do Power Tour. Unfortunately, Pierre lost all of the footage from the second time we went, but I recently found all the footage of when you and I went. So there's a bunch of stuff that I found. So at some point, you should Ashley, we should bring a couple people in who were there. And even for the second one, Vinny. But it's funny because like Hurt came on Power Tour 1 and hated it.
Well, he was a support driver.
Yeah, he was a support driver driving the RV and like running cameras and doing all of that. But we were still trying to kind of figure out what it all was. But we got there My car wasn't running yet. We dropped my car off at a shop.
Yep.
To have them finish the brakes. And we took your car out for like off the trailer. And it is, I've never seen rain like that before in my life. Do you remember that?
I remember vividly. It was so gnarly. Even the locals said.
The road flooded while we, like,
instantly.
Instantly.
Yeah.
We were like in an intersection. The road flooded instantly. And then on the next thing I remember was like the pivot ball for your clutch gave out. And I made one by rubbing a hex bolt on the ground until I rounded it off. And then that ran.
For a while. It broke when they took it off the trailer. Yeah. So here's the thing. 55 is a very specific setup for clutch linkage. And I put 55 and 57 parts together. And the geometry was completely wrong because when you put a car together, put it this way. Before I left the trailer, I had the original Pocky Puck motor mounts on it. So when I would shift gears with a manual, right? Go back on throttle, the motor would rock. It was on an actual rod, would stay. I had to put my foot under the gas pedal to pull it back to idle, and then shift it, and then do it again. So that's why TA came by and he zapped in the actual side mounts. But anyways, yeah, the water came up through the floorboards. We got to a Denny's and we sat there because it was higher up on the ground. And even the locals were like, that was a lot of rain.
Yeah.
It was gnarly.
It rained every day. Your car
broke every day.
And
we fixed it.
And the Nova was okay, but I had a couple breaks. The second year, the Nova broke every day. Because the second year I put the bigger motor in, and it ran hot every single day.
But at least you made it. The 55 we left at in Austin.
I forgot about that.
Because I kept thinking it was like electrical, and it wasn't. I ran the original fuel tank with the original fuel lines in it, and they were just rusted up. And we're changing it to the straight axle.
Yeah.
All the sediment went out, and it clogged it, and I just left it at Barry's house in Austin, and then we shipped it back like 3 weeks later.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
It sucked. I was so excited because we were in with everybody.
Yeah.
We're doing it, and here I'm on the radio. Try 5's down. And that was it.
Ugh, I remember that now. Yeah, I forgot about that. Did you listen to the pod I did with Zach?
Yeah.
About the road?
Yeah, I showed up late because I had my schedule of my day, and you're like, get on. And I'm like, hang on, I got to pause my day, and I'll get on, and everyone's like, oh, post credits.
Wait, so you were listening to that on the way here today?
No.
That day you
yeah, because you went live because you were doing a premiere of it, and I saw it, but I couldn't get to it, and that's Cacao and I both jumped in.
Oh, right. Because I saw you on that. Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I did hear it.
Yeah. By the way, for those of you who are listening to the pod, on YouTube, we actually do like a live chat for the premiere. It comes out every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific, and I jump in there for the first whatever it is, the first 2.5 hours, however long the video is, and sort of like answer questions in the chat. Although usually the chat ends up being completely tangential to the actual episode. But,
yes.
And sometimes people who are on the show, like John, will pop in the chat. You never know. Anyway, yeah, that was I miss, like, there's peak moments, and I don't know if it was because it was one of the first, but if I was to name like the top 5 moments at Hoonigan, both power tours are in that top 5.
Because it was fun. We did the thing. We got in the car and did the thing.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I met Mike was on one. We were in the trailer with Alana, sure. Yeah. And she was interviewing us for the article that they wrote up us, right?
And him and Freiberger came into the trailer.
Yeah. Right? And like, those were the dudes.
Yeah.
I mean,
they were the dudes. Yeah.
They were like, they still are the dudes. They still are the dudes. But like, at the time, like, that's them. Yeah. Like, I watched them. I was at Maisto drawing cars.
Yeah.
And I was watching Roadkill. So now I'm like, I'm in the trailer with these dudes.
Yeah.
So that's like, it was a good time. And plus, just going, you're from the East Coast. It's very different. Driving an old car in California is very like, it can be very scenic, but it's not very long. Mm-hmm. It's like you do the thing, you go back. That's it. When you drive 11 to 1,300 miles in an old car that is held together with zip ties and hopes and dreams.
On small roads, through a bunch of small towns.
Yeah. That's how we met Ratty Muscle Car guys.
Yeah, they were really fun. Yeah.
They're great. Yeah. But it's like, that was an experience that I'm like, I miss it.
Yeah.
It was fun. Finding all the hypodermic needles in the dirt and stuff around different places.
That was in Memphis.
Was wild.
Yeah, we definitely, because we had so little money, we stayed in the hood almost every night.
Dude, I've never been to, I wouldn't even call it a motel. It's probably a motel, right?
Yeah.
With bulletproof glass.
Uh-huh. That was that one.
Yeah, that was gnarly.
I remember that night. That was in Memphis. we were so concerned because it was clearly a trap house across the street.
Oh yeah.
And we were sort of dealing with that. So
you corralled the cars.
I corralled the cars. We parked the RV in front of the cars, and then I slept in the car because I didn't feel like I needed to put it on anyone else. And then I won't name names. We woke up in the morning, and one of our employees had quit and left.
Yeah, it was.
Do you remember that?
Oh, I remember very well.
Because it was so brutal.
Yeah,
he just got up and was like, "I can't deal with this. Like, this trip is insane." And like just got a cab, took a cab to the airport. We're like, in the morning, we're all like, "Where is he?"
Yeah,
we didn't know where he was, and he actually got a hotel room that night because we would rotate out who got to sleep in the hotel, and like a band on tour.
Yeah,
and that's how we
100%.
Yeah,
that was I enjoyed it because we had such a different. We got to interact with. We went to dinner at Beale Street with dudes from. Was it Hot Rod? Who was it?
No, that you mean the. Oh yeah, so okay,
yeah. Took the RV and did some.
So yeah, he did some stuff we can't talk about because it's probably still an EPA fine. We went to dinner and it was Matt Boyle, who was at Hot Rod, who was at Motor Trend.
That's it.
Took us out to dinner because I think they felt bad for us because we were like eating, like we were like eating out of like cans of like tuna fish or something. I mean, we were so broke on that trip. I look back at it now and I think like, man, I can't believe I expected any of you guys to go along with it.
But here's the thing I will say about you, Scotto, is that you'll inspire people to walk into the flames, and then later on you're like, that was maybe not the best idea. But here's the thing. It could show, you could gauge who was down.
Well, the funny thing about that night, I actually think we brought this up in the pod with Hurt. I forget, but like once Hurt realized that someone else was paying the bill, Hurt ordered like 9 lobsters. Like he just went to town. I mean, he was eating. I remember at one point, like Matt was just looking over and like he had like 9 plates around him. And he just kept ordering because we ate like crap the whole trip because we had like no money. It was like fast food every night.
We were eating. I think Ashley made me a vegetable sandwich.
Yeah.
But granted, I wasn't eating meat. So
yeah, you're vegetarian, yeah.
Yeah, still am. But like, it was funny because like, we were making the food in the RV. We weren't splurging.
No, that was the trip was like, I mean, I did it like we were a touring band. Yeah. Like we have an RV. We're going to sleep in the RV. We'll get one hotel every night so that we can rotate showers out of the hotel. And every night a different person gets to sleep in the hotel.
Yeah.
Which seemed like, it seemed so logical to me at the time. And someone woke up and quit and flew home and sent me like a Dear John email.
Let's roll it back real quick. You flat tow the Nova to my house, which took you 8 hours. It's 52 miles from Long Beach to my house. It took you guys that long.
Because we kept having problems.
Yeah. I mean, in the overloaded RV, the kid didn't like...
The front wheels didn't make contact with the ground because of so much weight from the Nova.
Yeah, it was bad from the jump. So already, and remember the rain getting out of California?
You drove through Arizona in what was probably one of the worst rainstorms I'd ever seen. And I remember you had like an American flag bandana tied. I
still have that
over your head.
I have the picture of us both wearing those.
And we were in the front because you had to have someone else. It was so stressful. Am I like just imagining this?
No, this was
It was
gnarly.
like one of the most like, stressful things to drive because there was so much weight in the back of the RV that the front felt disconnected from the ground.
Yes.
And you would be just like changing lanes without any control. And the rain was coming down in full sheets through the desert. Because like if you live on the East Coast, you don't know what like rain in the desert is just, it's almost like a religious experience. Like it just is so, one, you watch the rain come in across the desert, which is wild to be like, I'm about to drive into a rainstorm. But it also smells like amazing. You ever notice that? Like rain, it's just like a different smell. But lastly, it can rain on like it is biblical level rain. It is you have done something bad and God is angry at you rain. And you were driving through the brunt of it. And I remember sitting up front with you through that. And you look like a madman. You were like both hands on the wheel,
dude, it was
just
gnarly.
locked in, bandana on. Yeah, it was crazy, man.
Remember also whoever was the passenger got to pick the music, not the driver. We flipped it.
Did we?
Yeah. I remember because the person who left was like, what are you listening to? Because he was driving. I'm like, oh, we're going to listen to Murder City Devils.
It was not his vibe.
No. And then I think we turned him on to Bad Brains that trip.
That's cool. He left with something good.
Yeah, he did with something good. But yeah, it was a very stressful experience for everyone.
Yeah, but also amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean, I still have fond memories of it.
So do I. It was brutal. I mean,
Yeah.
Vinny said it best because Vinny came on year 2. Vinny wasn't on year 1. And year 2, he called it a tough mutter with cars.
Yeah.
And it's totally that. Like the cars all constantly break down. There's no air conditioning. Like everything was difficult. I don't think most people's power tour experience is this. Like we created that. You still actually have a tattoo. I forgot that you got that from
Road Dogs.
Yeah, Road Dogs from that trip.
Spelled like Randy Rhoads though.
Yeah. And DAWGS.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that was
That's why I got this, because man, that was, to me, was like, this was the coolest thing.
It was so much fun. Yeah.
And I've been like on private jets with pretty amazing artists, musicians.
I don't find private jets to be that cool, but yeah.
But for me, like, that's not in my wheelhouse. That's not my normal life, right? But for me to go hang out in my dirty ass old car with a bunch of sweaty dudes in Ashley, right? Just driving our junk was like, I can't even put it in words. It was like a moving thing for me. Like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah. This April 3rd is 4-3 Day. That's right, the official and actually National Ken Block Day. And we are going to be celebrating the man with a 4-hour and 30-minute live stream with a ton of people attending. It'll be on Blockhouse Racing on YouTube. Check it out. We'll be raising money for the foundation. It's going to be a great time. Set a reminder, mark your calendars, do whatever you need to remember it. We'll see you there. Yeah. It was great too because we made our own thing. Like we call it Power Tour, but we barely participated in Power Tour.
Oh, we were late every day.
We were late for everything, so we never showed up to anything they were doing. We just basically would stay at the same hotels as them.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, right. And I think one night, I think Finnegan came by to hang out with us because we had to fix something. And I remember, I will never forget this line. Do you remember what Finnegan said to us?
Mm-mm.
He said, "You guys are more roadkill than roadkill."
Oh, yeah. Because at that point, roadkill had been around for 5 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 years, right? And they kind of had a thing.
Yeah.
And out of all the content, it was 30-second Facebook videos we made.
Yeah, I think so.
Or a minute. And maybe it was up to a minute.
That was
at that
on
point.
the second one. I don't even think we never even made, that was the second one.
We didn't even film anything?
Because Pierre came with us on the second one.
That's right.
I think the first one was probably just photography that came out of it.
Yeah, I have a lot of the stills.
I think we shot some video, but I don't think we ever did anything with it because we hadn't launched Daily Transmission yet. We didn't really know what to do with it. We didn't have
deliverables
or deliverables, right? And
whoa,
so I don't think we ever ended up doing anything with it. And I think in the end, Edelbrock and everybody else was generally happy with we just made a buzz while we were there, and I think we posted a bunch about it, just stills because there was when Instagram and stuff was still stills.
To be fair, we got a whole different set of eyeballs about Power Tour and old school muscle. But one of my biggest things obviously was the whole trip, but Vic Edelbrock Jr. gave me a thumbs up in the Tri-5 when it had 16 different colors of primer, barely making it to the gas station, but I was like, that's so sick.
That's so sick, yeah. I remember the second one was pretty fun because that was when I had the Edelbrock 555 in the car. And that, I don't know if you remember how fast the Nova was back then. I mean, now it's not because now everyone's got 1,000 horsepower. But back then, 700 horsepower was a lot in 2016.
Let's be honest, to real world people, driving a car with 600 horsepower is a lot for the street. Let's be honest. 400 on the street is fun.
I just had this conversation with Zach, and Zach basically called me a pussy because I said 700.
You know what's even better than that? Having a car that's stock that doesn't break, and you just drive it forever.
Yeah, I wouldn't know about that for sure.
You have the Volkswagen.
Also the B150. Yeah. The B150 stock, and it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
It starts.
It's a different experience. You can drive it and feel like I'm driving something old. It's fun. Yeah. It's an experience. Yeah. There's things about cool, fast cars, but at the end of the day, 700 horsepower. I had this conversation with Musto. That is not every day.
Yeah.
People drive those cars.
But I pulled up. We got there, and we had just joined. Sort of I think we got there a little late.
So shocking,
right? We got there a little late, and we were catching up. And we were rolling so it was the four of us. So it's me, you, Ashley in the F100, Vinny in the C10. And then we caught up with the ratty muscle car dudes. Mm-hmm. We were rolling with them. They had the, what was the yellow car? Was that a Challenger? I forget now. Anyway, we were rolling with them and we pulled up on Finnegan. Finnegan was in the muscle truck.
Yep.
right? Pulled up, and I pulled up next to him, and we're cruising at like 50, and I'm just egging him to go, and he's just shaking his head, no, 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 no. And then we get to, later on, I'm like, hey, I'm like, why don't you run? He's like, because first off, I pulled up next to you, and the minute I looked over at you, the camera was already rolling. He's like, no one rolls a camera on a race they're gonna lose. I mean, he's like, and I'd heard that you had gotten a new engine for that thing. He's like, so I just didn't want to go for it. He's like, and then he's like, I just watched you run a D-stroked LS truck that's way faster than mine and put like 6 cars on him. He's like, I was absolutely not wanting to race you. And that was like such a great moment to be like, these guys, like the roadkill dudes who are building this sick shit are like, yeah, I'm not touching you. So, cause I remember that thing, cause that car was so fast. At least at the time it felt fast. I've obviously driven a lot of other faster stuff, but in a car where you can see the floor pass underneath you because there's like holes in the floorboards, it felt fast.
It's a very different experience. A car built from the 60s or 70s or the 50s isn't designed to run that way.
No.
So yeah, you can put the chassis on it, but still, it's an old car.
Yeah.
Like what the Roadster shop puts out now is like engineered to do those things, right?
I mean, granted, that car did have an Art Morrison chassis, so it was sorted, but
still,
I built it, so it was as sorted as I could build.
I mean, you held the trunk down with a ratchet strap.
It still is to this day.
Sick.
Still is to this
Never
day.
change it.
Yeah, it's actually, I'm going to bring it to Zach's to get it back up and running. Because I'm in this process, and I talk about this in every episode. I mainly talk about it because I want people to hold me accountable. But I'm going to start a series called Does It Run? And it's just like, what am I going to do with all my cars? Because like amassed 25, 26 cars. And as you know, because you could tell the audience, how did your day start today once you got here?
Oh, we had to like try and jump a car.
We had to get the rabbit started.
Yeah.
And it did eventually start, but like it needed a little bit of assistance.
There's no way you can have that many cars.
But when you have that many cars, things just go wrong. And like that car had been sitting still for 6 or 7 days. And like 6 or 7 days is enough for like things to happen with that vehicle. And I've just realized that I have too many cars. I'd rather have like a smaller collection of cars, like 10 or 12.
Okay, I was going to say.
We'll start at 10 or 12 and have 10 or 12 better running cars, and then probably get down like maybe like I think like a realistic number is 6.
But can you have one car that does it all?
No.
Because what's that dude's name? Shotgun Garage or whatever.
I don't know.
The guy who has like that one car garage. He used to take out the Willow all the time. It's Porsche.
The writer.
Yeah.
The 911.
Mm-hmm. I want to say Jack something.
It is Jack Olson.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Jack Olson, also really famous. He had one of the coolest garages ever.
Still does.
And back when there was forums, there was the Garage Journal, and his garage was the 12 gauge garage.
That's
because it was made out of because he had all this 12 gauge steel. It had nothing to do with shotguns, but it was because all of the cabinets he had were like industrial strength 12 gauge that he bought at an auction. Anyway, yeah. Him, Jack Olson. I don't know. That's just not me.
I mean, granted,
I think it's a different mindset.
A truck does truck things. A track car does track things.
Yeah.
You're not going to have, like some people maybe build a truck that can do track things that can haul stuff.
So like I've been going through the process of this, and I've actually been papering out the edit of like what I'm going to make and all of this. And I keep working in the cars I currently have, and I try to justify like why I have those cars. And the other day, I did this thing where I took a step back and I said, okay, I don't have any of these cars. What cars do I want by category? And that actually like changed the way I thought about it. Because I think there's a lot of cars I'm trying to justify into my collection because I just don't want to get rid of them. Mm-hmm. But instead, it's sitting there thinking, like, I don't think I could have one car that can do it all because I like different things, right? I don't like my 911 can't do what the Nova can do. It's just like a different experience.
Yeah.
Me, right?
That makes sense.
But for me, it's like there's something I like about big old trucks. It's like there's that like checks the box for me. I like a vehicle I can go camping with and like go off road with. I think that's like really good. I like a good sports car, which I have. I do really enjoy having a muscle car, but I definitely think I miss like I got so close to building a traditional hot rod that I never did that I feel like that's something that like I still need to scratch. And then I also really enjoy having like a show car. Do you know what I'm saying? Like something that like this thing is just like I chrome dumb things on it, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
or like it has a polished manifold. Like my RWB, while it might be super cool, it's not a show car to me at all. It's like it's a car, right? But like there's something cool about like a Volkswagen Rabbit that you approach it in the way like lowrider people approach it, where like every single thing
It's been touched.
It's been touched, and
Yeah.
there's artistry in even the way that the wires are routed because you've cleaned the engine bay. Like there's something about that I think is cool. So I've been kind of like going through that process of like, and then I obviously need something that's like more of like a family car, right? And like, you start like kind of checking all that list, and that's sort of like helped me sort of land like where I am. But in that process, I realized that like the Nova hasn't been really like on the road for like 5 years.
Oh, I thought it was running and driving.
I haven't driven it since I was driving it and I just should have left it as it was, but it hadn't ran for a while. During COVID, I decided to fix it, got it running, brought it to Tire Slayer Studios, did 2 donuts in the parking lot, and then took it apart again.
I thought Mark Gerhardt was there and you're
He
putting
did,
squeeze
and
on
we
it.
never got it sorted again. So like the car got built out, but it never got tuned. It went to SEMA that year. It was the same year I brought the Audi Coupe Quattro to SEMA. So it was like there's 2 things going at once.
Yeah.
Someone, again, I won't name names, but someone brought the car outside. The car had never been, like, we put water in the radiator. It had never been burped. They just left the car running outside and it overheated. And the car hasn't been turned on since then. Like, got pushed into SEMA, got pushed out, came back. Life got really crazy. And then it sat there for a while. Then, life got even crazier. I left Hoonigan. It got pushed onto a trailer. It got brought out to the house. So it has never been tuned. It has never, like we got the car running, but it never went past that. So, yeah.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
I'm actually.
Your heart texts me all the time, like, got the Nova running yet? I'm like, no, eventually. But when you have 26 cars, like because people get so annoyed with me because people be like, dude, why isn't that running? I'm like, I just trying to keep the cars that I have on the road takes a lot.
Dude.
How many cars do you have now?
6. I have the least amount of everybody. And guess what? Even that's too much.
What are your 6?
Let's see. The 67.
Right.
The 71 GMC 3-door carry-all Suburban.
Yep. And that's kind of like your daily right now?
Yeah, right now. Except for I'm driving the GX. That's another one. The 55 Tri-5 by Fire, which I'm still working on getting those. I'm not going to mention names. There's things on that I'm working on right now. And then the 72 GMC Sprint, which is Gunner's car. Right. Which he'll be driving this summer.
That's a nice loophole, by the way.
Yeah.
The kid's car. Yeah, it's pretty sick. Because you've had that like since he was like 5, right?
3,
yeah.
It was my mom's car. She drove that.
Nice loophole.
She drove that till she got her Miata in 2003.
Wow.
So she had that for a while. And then the 1920 Model T touring car, which I hacked up.
I forgot about that.
And I got the Model A frame, but then I'm like thinking about like, it's a Model T. And I would kind of rather just put on a Model T frame as opposed to trying to put on, it's not a Model A. Like, I feel like I was going to go down this rabbit hole. People do it.
Yeah, because the Model A frame is just a better chassis.
Yeah.
Than a Model T.
Yeah. But hey, just go full dickhead and make it so it's super sketchy. And
yeah, just that the front suspension's like pretty suicide spec.
100%.
On a Model T. So
yes.
Model A is like, you should just, I don't know. You could do whatever, but.
Yeah.
The Model A, like, you could drive on the highway.
Oh, you could. There's plenty of idiots driving.
I didn't say that you can't. I just said, like, you have kids and you have a responsibility.
Yeah, because as it is, you're basically sitting on just nothing.
Yeah.
But the whole idea is make it like a little, just a bar hopper kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the last thing. I'm the only other car I really wish I could do, but I don't think I'm ever going to get to it. I would love a 53 or 54 Chevy, just static on Kragers with like thin white walls, and that'd just be a cruiser, just ratty.
I think a couple things that I want from like that era stuff. One, I want to build a 33 Hudson Essex, because obviously my son's name. But it's like suicide door, has like a really kind of like cool cowl. Like I was never the Ford guy. Like I remember I was trying to build a 29 Chevy. Like just because everyone has Fords, and like I like it being like slightly different, then your shit stands out a little bit more. But the Essex is just like a really cool car, but they're really hard to find. So it's one of those, like, one will eventually pop up in like South Dakota, and I'm gonna have to go get it. It's not something like I constantly search them, and they just don't really pop up that often, or they do, and they're like perfect finished original cars.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to hot ride something like that. I want to find something that's like a survivor but like beat up survivor and take that. That's one. And I'd like to do that like somewhat traditional. So it'd be cool to run like a Hudson straight 8 in it, but I'd also be happy to run any, Ford Flathead, or actually the engine I really like is the GMC 302 inline 6, which is like a sort of like later 50s, right? Because like that's like a cool motor. It looks cool. It builds decent power. It's a 302, so it's pretty big, and it's a little bit easier to deal with than flatheads. Flatheads, as you know,
Dude,
really
flatheads expensive, and it's
don't
like
build a lot of power, a lot of issues.
Yeah, a lot of money for very little. But if you're a purist on that,
yeah. But the 302 is like an overhead cam car.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's one idea. But then the other thing that I've really been feeling like I want is, and I've always wanted one, but like I just want like a really big land yacht.
like parade car.
Well, the parade car, aka name it by its real name, Pablo Escobar.
Oh yeah, well,
like that car scratched the itch for me because it was at Hoonigan. I could use it whenever I wanted to, and I forget what year it was. It was 64 Oldsmobile 90
was it?
It wasn't a Delta 88.
88.
It was the 98. It was a 98. Yeah. And like that thing scratched an itch for me. Ashley and I used it all the time, like as like a neighborhood car. I just enjoyed having like a big cruiser. So, and it's like really, really, it's really, really cliche, but there's just like a Suicide Door Lincoln. It's just fucking great. They're just great, but they're really expensive for a nice one, at least for what they are. Like they're $50,000-$60,000 cars. But I just like one of those is like a cruiser in Long Beach would be super cool, or like same generation, like late 50s to like mid 60s Cadillac.
Oh, you can't go wrong with that though.
Yeah.
It's like that was the pinnacle of luxury for American cars.
Yeah,
Was that?
yeah.
And it's like everyone sees like, oh, even if you're in the car, it's like, oh, that's cool.
There's just something, I've never driven a car slow that felt as cool as driving the land yacht.
Because everyone's like, ooh, look at that. Because you don't see them.
Yeah.
No one, if you park it somewhere, it's gonna stand out.
It's just cool, and it makes people happy.
Yeah.
Like you remember when we started just taking the land yacht to lunch all the time at Hoonigan? It was like the lunch mobile. It's like you would roll past people. It didn't matter who they were. Like
thumbs up,
like yelling out the car. Like everybody was just excited by it. It just made people happy. Like there's something about old that like 60s era cruisers that are just great.
Well, the funny thing I think about that car now is that we got to there to get the car right. We didn't check to see if it had brake fluid in a single stage master, which I thought about now, like didn't even check the brake fluid to see. We were bombing that thing well above it should have been driven.
We were cruising in the rain in a vehicle that was a permanent convertible because it did not have a top.
Yeah.
Like it was never intended to be. It was originally a hardtop that they removed the roof from to make it into a parade car and then gave it a convertible A-pillar just so it looked cool. We were driving that in the rain from Ohio back to Woodward Dream Cruise at like 70 miles an hour the whole way.
Sure, 70.
It felt like 70.
It was more than that.
Oh, you're saying it was faster.
We were spiritedly driving that car in places it shouldn't have been driven.
Yeah, we were moving. And I remember one of the reasons we were moving because we had to drive fast enough to create an aerodynamic bubble over it so that you wouldn't get soaked in the back seat.
Yes.
And you had just designed the Hoonigan ponchos. So we were all wearing the ponchos, but there was like 4 inches of water in the floor of the car. So I think eventually we drilled a hole in the car so the water would leak through. But yeah, that was fun though. That was a really good trip.
It was a really good trip. And then Woodward, that car was not built for Woodward.
No, the radiator like popped.
Instantly.
Yeah, we still kept cruising though.
No, it was, dude. That
was a great trip
because that was another trip that was really fun. And we got to experience it because I don't think they're even doing it anymore. Because like a lot of those towns now are like, nah.
Yeah.
Because even back then, you skip. Remember, you'd skip a spot and no one was participating.
Yeah, you moved to the next town.
But man, that's the first time I think I saw a Camaro, like a late model Camaro on like 32s or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Remember that thing?
Yeah,
it was just so big. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like it was cool because like that show brought so many different people, different cars, just traditional stuff, like traditional, like what you'd see back in the day. But it was really cool because like that whole scene was very eye opening. Like, dude, these people are all here hanging out doing the thing, and it was cool.
Yeah. This conversation is making me miss that whole side of it. It's because like one of the things like I've learned, I've spent the past like 2 or 3 years since I left Hoonigan, like really kind of trying to understand my ADHD, like call it a journey, whatever the hell you want to call it. But like since I was a kid, people made fun of me and were like, "Oh, you have ADHD, butterflies." But I was actually like not diagnosed. I wasn't diagnosed till 2 years ago. I think everybody knew I had it, but
I didn't know.
Wait, really?
No, I just
like that never occurred to you. You just thought I was just psychotic.
Yes, you forget. I've worked with some pretty way out people.
Well, the thing is when I wasn't diagnosed until 2 years ago. But as a kid, like it was just something like people would always be like, "Oh, like little like butterfly or squirrel," like all the jokes around ADD, and it was just something that I thought affected like one part of me, right? Like it was, what I'm saying? Like it was like, oh, it's why I'm forgetful. Oh well, like deal with it, right? Or like, oh, it's this one thing. As you start to like kind of do more sort of understanding and research, you're like, oh shit, like. Okay, so my brain's wired differently, which means like a lot of things are different, like my impulse control, all these different things. But one of the other ones is this concept of like object permanence, which is like if I don't see something, I kind of forget it exists. And that could be some of my cars, some of my friends. Like you're in this thing. It doesn't mean that you don't care about that person or you don't care about that thing. It's just like if it's not there, you forget about it. And it's actually one of the reasons why people with ADHD hold on to a lot of clutter and things. Because those things help them remember, right? So more likely to keep photos, more likely to keep trinkets, like more likely to keep, the concert ticket to their first concert they ever went to, not because they're a collector, because like you probably keep that stuff because you're more of a collector, but because you need to physically see it, to touch it and feel it, to be able to remember that it even happened. Otherwise, like that part of your brain just like disappears. So for me with cars, I've realized that I go through these things where I get really, if you only put Volkswagens in front of me, I get like just really into Volkswagens. And like, that's all I'm paying attention to. It's all I care about. I don't remember about the other things. And then Vinny will be like, hey, pull your stupid Ferrari out and let's go drive it. And then like for the next 4 or 5 days, like all I'm thinking about is the Ferrari because like that becomes like my whole world. And then over like 2 weeks ago, I literally went into the shed that the Nova's in. I was like, oh yeah, this thing's kind of cool. But then like you and I have this conversation now. I'm like, I forgot how much I liked all this other stuff, which is like both good and bad. Because the good is that it just like energized this whole other part of my brain that I kind of forgot about. But it's also the reason like I never get rid of anything. Because it's like all these different things have this like connective, like, oh yeah. And then like, people, I always joke, like I know rail cars are jokes, so I talk about it. I'm like, oh yeah, rail car. But like you understand what rail car is. No one else at Hoonigan understand what rail car was. It was just a punchline for stuff, right? But it's like I still really want to do that because like there's a whole culture of traditional hot rod for me that was like really cool. And speaking of this is totally random, I'm gonna just bounce right off. I ran to Heath Pinter the other day.
Oh, so he lives out here.
Yeah, he lives here in Long Beach. And I saw him at a coffee shop the other day and it was like such a trip. But I was like, it was funny because like that's from that era of when like I was super into hot rods. He was building hot rods. Like we became friends over hot rods and like all those kind of things.
He was my first solo Daily Transmission episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like I don't think everyone understands this. Like I was always the behind the scenes guy. Everywhere I worked, I was behind the scenes guy.
Yeah.
And I remember you came to me like, we need more people on camera, so you're gonna have to do this and you're gonna do this one. And that was it. It was the worst. I watched that video. Some days I just cringe myself out so much. But I watch it because it was like, people think it's easy to get on camera and talk to people about stuff. It's really hard. Once you get used to it, you forget the camera's there and it's okay. But that was my first episodes with Heath.
Well, if you think back to the early days, it was really Vinny and Hurt who were front and center on the camera. Like they just seemed to feel most natural. I was sort of in the background early on, but was there because I was sort of directing and would get kind of pulled in front. And then I would get in front because it just made more sense for me to narratively explain what was happening. It wasn't until the Carcane Rehab episode that like I felt like I developed like a personality with the audience. I think before that I was just like the weird boss who would come out and be a little brash because I had like a New York sentiment to me. And then I think for you, it was a mix of two things. I think there was the Call Out Kings, which was like you racing Finnegan that like really thrusted you into a space where like people knew who you were. But then I also think it was Drawing with John.
Oh yeah, people still talk
Or
about
Drawing
that.
with Chase or whatever we called it. Like, was it Drawing with John? No, it was Drawing with John, right?
Yeah. With Simon, the soundtrack.
Yeah, which was this thing that we added to the Tangent show that I think made people go, oh, this is what John does here.
Yeah.
So I think that was really difficult for people to understand, was like, it's a bunch of car guys, but like they run a company and they all have different jobs.
And we had jobs. That's another thing I think.
We had real jobs,
at the
real
company.
jobs at the company. And everything that we did on camera came after those jobs, which was really difficult and not a sustainable model in the end, it turns out.
No, but it was interesting. But yeah, like I remember we did the one where I talked about Memphis design. I remember Lindsay Ross is like, this guy's talking, because it was 80s aesthetic where it came from, because we were doing shit car design. I want to talk about it, and I gave those examples. I remember Lindsay did the comment. I remember it. This guy's talking to Hoonigans about Memphis design. Like, this is crazy. And that was the name of the design firm. And they're the ones who actually made that look.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to share the inspiration, because I think that's what's really great about the storytelling side.
Yeah.
That people didn't know. So I didn't want to tangent off your tangent, but
No.
just throwing it back to you
fine.
now.
Yeah.
There you go.
I that was just a response to your. I don't even know where we started. I mean, we're literally still haven't even checked off the first thing, which was like, where do we get inspiration from?
Oh yeah, we're talking about it right now. It's a roundabout way of doing it. We're just getting back to it now.
Yeah. This is. I don't know if this is the most roundabout episode yet, but it's there. It's definitely high up there. So,
But I feel it's good though, because you can see the stream of consciousness, how it's being played out.
Yeah. No, for sure. It's a journey that has just a lot of stops along the way.
Yeah, but that's how life is.
It's like this conversation is a car that breaks down a lot. When you break down, it just like takes you to a different place.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. What are you? Back to the inspiration thing, and back to sort of like, so for a while, because you probably remember this, I used to use Pinterest as inspiration, mostly because it was a great place to digitally build mood boards. Like, it just, the functionality of it was. I can't even go on there anymore, because it has all been sort of replaced by either AI stuff or the same thing. Like, it doesn't matter what I search, it keeps giving me the same thing. And I'm not like all of a sudden I've realized, like, I'm not finding, there's nothing new in there to find.
You reached the end of Pinterest.
Yeah, I've reached the end of it. And I have now gone back to finding inspiration in analog again. Like, I have left digital as a place for inspiration. So I've gone back to like pulling out and dusting off my old design books. I just bought Zephyr's new book yesterday because it's like a new scrapbook look. I haven't even seen what the inside looks like, but I saw the cover. I know Zephyr's work, and I was like, I was excited to buy it because like I haven't had like physical inspiration in that world. Where when I was at the magazine,
it's different though.
It was that was the era. Like, I remember I had like a library of books, and I would go in and I would sit down and I would grab something and I would flip through it and I would try to find inspiration. And we were on this conversation before, and I think we talked about where we tangented was, as I said, I never watched automotive stuff because I never wanted to be inspired by that. But I wanted to be inspired by skateboarding. I wanted to be inspired by fashion. I wanted to be inspired by all this other stuff, right? And I'm very much finding myself like there again. Like in this world, like the digital thing seemed so easy for a while that I really loved it. But now I'm realizing that everyone's getting the exact same inspiration. So we're all being inspired by the same thing, which again is flattening the curve because we're all like getting and feeling and looking at the same stuff.
The input is the same.
Yeah.
So the output's probably going to be the same. So I've never stopped buying books.
Right.
So I go to Book Off, which is like a reseller. It's from Japan, but they've had them everywhere now. Or I'll go to just random places. I was going to bring it to show it to you because you would really appreciate this. I bought a book on travel trailers from the 50s.
Yeah, that's my vibe.
I just got it because all the logos are in there. I'm like, these are so sick.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, there's a double, do you see it? There's a double decker one. It transformed to a second story travel trailer. It's like it was like a one of, you probably don't know, it's a one of one. But anyways, I was like, dude, if I don't like this book, I'll just give it to Scotto because he'll love it. But
I think I may have actually. Was it built by Spartan or was
no?
I
think it was. I don't even know. I have to go look at it again. But I do the same thing because like I was going through magazines from the '90s and doing just tear sheets.
Yeah,
and just going through like it might not matter now, but I have a tear sheet file of actual magazine images that I've been collecting for 15 years.
I haven't heard the term tear sheet since I think I worked in magazines.
Because it's very much of that era.
It's of that era. Yeah. Which basically is just like you tear out a page, but you call it a tear sheet.
Yeah. But the thing is like, you understand that and a lot of people don't. And like, it's it matters because I used to buy books digitally,
Mm-hmm.
and if I don't have it, I don't even remember it's there.
Yeah, I actually started. I love audio, right? So because of that, I went down the Audible route and I started buying a ton of books on Audible. And I found that I would just stop listening to them midway through because, like, same thing. I'll check Permanence. If I didn't see the book, I'd forget about it. But in the inspiration side, when we did the Australia trip for the last Gymkhana, the town we were staying in had some of the best typography ever. And I just walked around by myself and took photos all type.
See, it's rad though.
Yeah, because it was just stuff that I hadn't, it was just naturally, yeah, and it's like it was typed from 25 or 30 years ago when that town was booming during, its peak. And it was just this thing that all felt different and hand done and had this unique look to it. Another thing, when I first moved out here, which is really interesting, but I got a lot of inspiration from swap meets. Because like swap meets aren't like as big of an East Coast thing. Like we have flea markets and stuff, but they're not like on the size and the scale as they are out here. And I would go to obviously like Pomona swap meet and Rose Bowl, but a bunch of the smaller ones, like you start realizing that the better swap meets are like more like the swap meets in the hood. Yeah. Because like that's where the stuff gets sold like originally and cheap before like it gets like sold to the gentrifiers.
Yeah.
And we would, like it became a big hobby for Ashley and I to like go to swap meets. And part of it was to buy furniture for our house or things like that. But the other part was like, I would just find stuff that, I mean, and you know this because like you worked at a drafting table that I bought at a swap meet one day. Cause I was like, this is perfect for our art department.
But I made it work because that was my desk.
Yeah, that was your desk. Yeah.
And I liked it.
Yeah. I wonder where that ever ended up. I don't know.
It's probably in the bottom of a landfill somewhere right now.
But like those were those things that, like I'm now at this point where like I just feel like no matter what I ask the internet for, it shows me the same thing.
So here's what I've done.
Like I just like it's no longer the tool it once was. Because I will also say the internet I thought was one of the greatest tools of all time, and then like one day it's like someone like turned it off or something, or like changed what it was, how it worked.
Well, it's the web 3.0 thing, whatever.
Yeah.
But here's how I've been doing it now. I went back to this in maybe 3 weeks now. I get up in the morning. I get up at 6 just because I have to get the kids ready, whatever, for school. Yeah. I don't do any phone stuff. It's like sunlight before screen light. Mm-hmm. That literally came out of Rick Rubin's book.
Mm-hmm. The book on the creative.
Yeah.
What was the name? Creativity or?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. It's funny. I'm reading it every day and I don't even know. But anyways, and since it's such a small, the sections, I don't even chapters or sections, like 2 to 3 pages. I read that. I look at sunlight. I go outside, whatever. I read 3, 4 pages. Drink my tea, don't do any phone stuff. I'll maybe watch 30 minutes of YouTube and then I start my day after I take the kids to school, right? For me, it has been the biggest help for me to like really be like focused on something. And I also like will go through books. I went through Ken Barber's lettering manual yesterday.
It's so good.
Yeah. I took classes from him.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Yeah. So like he's so good. And I wish I could have had talk to him because I know we were doing that thing with Ken. We were going to do something with them and it never didn't work. But like just having those, I mean, granted, books.
I just went and bought a bunch of House Industries books, lettering manual, a bunch of them. The one, I was never an artist in the terms of like, I was never really able to draw. The most I did was graffiti. But even in the graffiti side, I was more of a bomber than like, a piecer. But the one...
Do you have to explain what piecing is versus bombing?
I mean, you could explain, yeah.
I mean, like piecing, you're actually making a piece of art.
Right.
Production,
piece of art, right. Which is what
you're doing toss-ups.
Right. Yeah, or you're like, so you I mean, the quick layers of it, for those who are not graffiti people, is like you have tagging, which is just your like single hand style. Right. And hand styles is like its own thing. Like hand style is its own art, I really think. And I'm a big hand style person. Like I have hand style. I like hand style. I don't know if I have good hand style, but I have better than average hand style. And then you have throwies, which is like just like outline letters, and you have fill-ins, which is throwies that are filled in. And then you have and then from there, like it goes into a bunch of other ones because like there's different quality fill-ins and so on. And then you have like blockbusters, which are like big letter work, right? But then you have like pieces, or like when I was a kid, they were called wild styles.
Okay, that's like, very East Coast.
Yeah, like that was like wild style was like because there was no style, right? Yeah. Like there was no style like limit, right? Like, but at that point, I think anything just becomes like a piece, which is like a piece of work. It's a piece of art. Like it's like a whole other thing.
It stands on its own.
Yeah. And not saying like I couldn't do pieces, but like they weren't that good. Like other people were really good at it.
Here's the thing though, but you have the creative mindset. I'm going to tangent real quick about people who are just jacking the term creative. I hate them. They're fake creatives. They think they have an idea. You might have an idea. People can have great ideas, right? But they don't execute the idea. That doesn't make you creative. People and there are also same people who dismiss your creativity if you try to make the thing.
Right.
I just had to say that because I've recently been dealing with this. I'm like,
well, I think creative went from being this like catch-all term for people that they couldn't decide what they did, right? So, like for example, I quickly fell into the creative term when that name first popped up because when I was a magazine editor, I was an editor.
You had a title.
I was a
what you
writer.
Did. Yeah,
that's what I did, right? And then I was an editor in chief, right? Like these are these things I did. But when you're an editor in chief, you're like doing more than editing. You're like overseeing the whole book. Like you're doing everything from helping aid in design to paper quality to color choice. Like there's just so many things that are involved.
The final product is your vision. You're taking from here all the way to the end.
Yeah. And then I moved into the world with Ken, and I was still using all of the skill sets I had there, but like I didn't really know what that was called. In the early days, I was a brand director, right? Like that was the term. I didn't become a creative director until, I think even when you started at Hoonigan, I was still titled as the brand director.
Yeah, then I got that title.
And then you got brand director, right? And it's like, and I moved into creative director because as I moved more into the content side of things, there was this like, it's this weird nebulous of like, what do I do? I'm not always a director. Sometimes I'm just thinking about the idea, and it's like really like I think the term creative is like for people who are really good about thinking and have good ideas. But you're right, the execution piece like has to be a part of it.
Yeah, so. You can't claim that. You can't claim that. I'm just saying it. You can't claim it. You have to do it.
It sounds like it's something that makes you work. Well, I think the problem now
grinds my gears, bro.
It does grind your gears. I think the problem about it now is that the creative thing has become so cool.
Yeah,
and also it is so vague.
Oh, 100%.
That people are like, I'm a creative, right? And and the weird thing is for me, there was a moment where I think that like creative was actually a dirty word because it kind of came from the agency side. So you were an artist or you were a creative. And actually in my most, when I worked at Super Plastic, I was explaining to Paul, who was the co-founder, the founder there, he was asking me about like my thoughts on art, my thoughts on whatever. And I said, look, I'm a creative. I'm not an artist. He said, well, what's the difference? And I said, a creative knows how to make things to make money. I was like, that's right. The difference. I was like, my art is intended to reach the masses so you can make money. And I was like, that's really my goal, right? My goal is to make something, not to make money, but I understand the economics of my ability to be creative, right? Like I have to do something that someone wants to buy, sell, or whatever, so I can do that. And he replied back to me something to the effect of like, well, an artist does too. The only difference is they only need one person to buy it, and you need millions to buy it. And I was like, yeah, I guess that is the big difference, right? Like it's like how it speaks to. But like for me, I always felt like the creative was like the blue collar artist back in the day. Do you know what I mean? Like I think like the true artist who was like a true artist was like, yeah, like I make this and I make it for culture, I make it for society.
Oh well, yeah, that's the
right,
the traditional
right. Like that's
sense.
like the true version of it. And for me, as a creative, it was like I make all of this so someone can buy it.
Well, let's be honest. My whole career is like you make thing that people buy to wear, and it's kind of like, and it's hard because it's the exact same thought.
Yeah, I've kind of actually moved to the point where I like using the term creative a lot less now because I realize that it's too much of a blanket term.
It is now,
right? Like I'm not really a designer. I have eye for design. But I'm not my own designer. And by the way, where we tangented from all this, I'm just going to hit this before we go back, is the one thing I want to do is I want to learn how to sign paint and I want to learn typography, hand done typography.
You
it's
just
something that
do it.
stems from graffiti. I know, and I've started to.
Oh, good.
I've started to. Like, I actually bought like calligraphy pens and all this stuff because I wanted to move out of just making the stuff I did, which was more graffiti oriented, and go to that because I feel this major disconnect in jumping in and doing that first. Because like I've on like Illustrator, like I feel like I want to do it like in a hand-drawn kind of way to begin with and then go from there. And it was House Industries' book that completely like made me feel that.
But you're looking at one of the best to do it right now.
No, I know.
And it's great because like you take his class. I took his class, and that's why I did romance novel. I took his romance novel class, right? Because the book covers, no one really gets credit for those, right?
They are incredible if you think about like a romance.
So,
I never even thought about that.
A fun fact is I did this collab with Nappy Boy, with Hurt, and RTR, Vaughn. Yeah. I did the letters in the romance novel style.
Sick.
Said Nappy Boy, right? And I remember Vaughn's like, oh, okay. And T-Pain loved it.
Yeah.
It had to be pink. That's what he had to do on it, right? But like learning that stuff is so awesome. You would lose your mind. You geek out on it. Because you could literally focus on one character and you would just do that one character over and over again. And when you do it with a brush, it is like a make it or break it move. You can do things to fix it, but it's like the actual act of doing it is like you just zone in. You would love it because you're laser focused on that one thing, that one second.
If I can hyper focus, then it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the sign painting thing is something that, and like I know you have a certain level of skill set with sign painting, but like watching,
I won't say sign painting. I will, because I hold that's a title that's held for people that's their profession, that's their love.
Yeah.
I like it. I do it. I won't take that. I won't claim that. Yeah. It's like I won't claim tattoo artist.
Right.
Basically, I mean, I'm basically a better scratcher. That's what they call people. That's what they call people in that scene. But it's dude, you should totally do it.
No, I'm going to. Like I'm
studying. It's really crazy.
Yeah, I've been like I said, I've been reading the house books. Really kind of put me on that level. And again, I went to the house books back to what we were saying before because I was looking for inspiration on doing something, and I went there for a different reason and walked out with something else. Like it was when I was designing the 3-2-1 action logo, and like you can see like the 3, the 2, and the 1 have like a very handheld, and I actually drew those myself, and then I gave them to someone else to clean up. Right.
Should have just left them rough, dude. It would have felt real good.
Yeah. You know what? I did it on the iPad with the just like with the stylus on the iPad. And I think I should have just done them on paper. You should have just because I don't
printed it.
What?
Printed it on the paper, put tracing paper over it, and then hit it with like a Sharpie. And that would have
maybe I'll redo it.
You could.
That's the redo.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. It's just something like that's just one of those things where I love type, but it's weird because I love it so much, but I never was a designer. Like I never learned that trade. It was never something because there was always other people in my world who were better at it than me. Yeah. So I from where it was and what made sense, it didn't make sense for me to do it. And the same thing with editing. I was never an editor, but now that I'm on my own, I find myself doing a lot of this stuff and enjoying it. Like I know I'm not anywhere near as good of an editor as any of the shredders we had at Hoonigan or Volkert or any of these guys I've used in the past for the Drumcana films or whatever. But I do enjoy the process of learning it. It's a difficult one though, because like I don't really have the time. Like it takes like for me to edit something takes days, where like someone else will do it in like a few hours, right? So
I mean, I'm gonna share something with you right now that I just had to work through myself. Yeah. Right. This is gonna be the bummer side of it.
It's all right. Right. It's all right. Yeah.
I was so mad the last couple of months, like super angry about everything. Every day I just like super pissed about everything, right? And I ended up snapping on one of the kids, and it was over nothing. And then my wife kicked me out of the car, told me to go chill out in the studio for 4 hours. And I just realized something. I was going through my midlife crisis. It's I don't want to get a vet and get monarchs and go get a girlfriend half my age. Right? But I was realizing I'm on the backside of my life now. There's not going to be another 53 years. Yeah. It might be like 20, 30, maybe. Yeah. Right? And I've been saying to myself the last several years, like, there's not time. I got to do it now. Because you don't have it all. Like, if you don't stop and go do those things, like be present for everybody in your life. Yeah. Go do those things like learning 3D modeling, doing more sign work, doing more airbrushing, like reading a book, watching that movie. I had a backlog of movies. I finally watched Heat. It came out 30 years ago. I finally watched it. I bought the DVD and sat down.
You hadn't watched it?
Haven't watched it. And I finally watched it.
It's fucking great.
Yeah, and they're making a second one now.
It still holds up.
It's fantastic, right?
Yeah.
But I was kept putting everything away. Like, I want to learn how to do this later.
Yeah.
Right now, I had to go in my house and tell my wife, I got it. I was so depressed with Scotto. I thought, like, I didn't do anything in my life. I haven't accomplished, what's this all for? I haven't accomplished anything. I had to remind myself, like, everything I dreamed of, I got to do.
Yeah.
And it's because of the right time, the right people I worked with to go do these things and learn things from other people.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't go to school to do any of this stuff, right? So all I'm saying to you is go do those things. Take that moment, even if it's only like 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
It adds up because, dude, I don't want to be the downer.
No, I don't think it's a downer at all. I actually think it's this thing that like people don't know. No one gives you the handbook on how to deal with shit as you get older.
Well, it's funny.
And especially because the handbook changes, right? Like when my dad was my age, like I was already out of the house. I'd already moved out. I have a 6-year-old now. Like my life is just a different order than his is. So that doesn't make sense. For me, you know, a major shifting moment was Ken's death because this was this moment for me where I was like, oh shit, like all these things that me and him had planned to do are not happening now, right? Like this is not happening, and it's the reason it's the reason I bought the farm because Ken loved the ranch. The ranch was like it was like the one thing that made him really, really happy.
Well, I don't think
and he had a lot in life. He lot in life, and there was a lot that, and he still seemed very frustrated, like how we all felt, right? And it's this world of like money doesn't really buy happiness.
Also, you think,
but I guess the money did buy him a ranch, and he was really excited about that.
Yeah,
but it was like things like chopping wood, which like was this like private thing for him. Like he didn't post about it, but like there's just these things, and for me, it's like it's the weirdest things about the property. And I it was 3 months after he passed, I went and bought the farm. Because it was a bad idea. We didn't have the money to do it. We over leveraged ourselves to do it. It has created a ton of extra stress and tension in my life because I now have this farm that has farm problems. Like you don't even think about like
farm life is 24/7.
Yeah, it's like a whole other thing. But I'm happy I did it because it was in my head of like I eventually want to own property. I grew up in New York City, like I never had property. Like, I want land. I want to be able to work the land, which just like sounds so cliche, but it was like just something I wanted to do.
But it's therapeutic because it takes you out.
100% therapeutic. And it takes me out. I leave the phone in the house. I get on the tractor. 20 hours later, I'm like dead. But I've had like, you know, I'm like, I love this, right? Yeah. And so that was one of those things that came out of that moment because I was like, shit, I gotta do this. And I had this other moment, which was shortly after that. And I thought to myself, like, what the fuck am I chasing? And like, what am I chasing? Like and you mentioned this earlier, which was like, you know, on your deathbed, right? Or after you die, like, what are people going to say about you? And your kids are going to be like, oh, I wish my dad worked more.
Not going to happen.
No, not going to happen, right? Yeah. And I had this thought, which was like, if I died right now, would I really be able to say that like I wasn't happy with what I've done, like all the things that I've done? And like you start to go through like the brands, the content, the things I've built, the impact I've had. And you're like, you know what? Like, and the places I've been and the places like, you know, all these amazing adventures I've had in my life is more than the average.
Yeah.
A lot more.
And you have to be like,
right.
I had to remind myself 20 years ago, I would be dying to be what I've done.
100%.
And I forget that. So like people are waiting to have that moment.
Yeah. And it's
remind
like,
yourself.
But then you like, I think you know, there's this whole idea of like, you know, you want to be living in the present. I think a lot of times I live in the future of like what I want to do versus like where I am right now. But I think sometimes in the past, I think I live in the regrets. I don't live in the like, fuck, that was super cool. Like even us just sitting here today talking about how sick Power Tour was. There's a part of me that makes me want to go do Power Tour again this year. But then there's other part of me that's just really content we did it. And realizing that Power Tour would not be the same this year. Because I would have different responsibilities looming. It would be a different thing. And it was great when it was. And, you know, I've said this before, but people will say to me, like, oh, it's a real bummer what happened with Hoonigan. And I'm like, man, that flame was not going to burn that bright for that long.
It can't go forever.
Like, it's just like your favorite band. Like, they got maybe 2 albums, maybe 3 albums in them before they change. And then you have to decide whether or not, like, you like that change.
Yeah.
You know, like,
It's a brands like that are always going to evolve.
Yeah.
It's like water.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if people ask me, I'm going, it's just things are going to change. It's just, that's why people come and go, and you can't, just how it is. You remember that moment. Like people say, I have all those shirts from that time. I put them away. Cool. When you open that up, you can relive all those moments again.
Yeah.
And be like, that was a cool time.
Yeah.
And there'll be something else.
I'll go back occasionally, especially a lot since we started the show, because we'll reference things, and I'll have to go back and I'll find the B-roll for it, to run.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go back and I'll watch like an early daily transmission, and I'm like, first off, I'm like, holy shit, I look like a baby. I look so young. Second,
wait a minute.
What?
I don't know if I should do this.
Go
Should I
for
bring
it.
this up? Okay, so you know what just happened a couple days ago?
What?
National Emo Day.
Oh, dude, so random. I know what you're going to bring up.
Yes.
Somebody sent me, someone who listens to the pod, sent me a clip, and it was like Chris Carrabba from MTV Unplugged, and in the background, he was like, hey, that looks like you. And I said to him, are you sure? No, I said to him, I said, did you recognize me, or did someone tell you? And he was like, I recognized you. I was like, really? Surprising.
Yeah. So National Emo Day, it's Unplugged, Dashboard Confessional. Scotto told me this, right? Years ago.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. This is the only thing I really can hang. Like, ooh, I got you. But it's great though, because they showed the clip. I'm like, oh my God. And there he is, young Brian Scotto singing all the words. But I know you were there because you were impressing a lady.
Well, but the full backstory was I had a friend, Iggy. He was into hardcore. He worked out at the gym that I worked at. So I ran the front desk at the gym. And we used to listen, like he would come in, there would be no one else there. So like I would throw on, the hardcore greats. And he would come over to me and be like, and by the way, he, not to judge a book by its cover, but he didn't look like someone who listened to hardcore, like kind of dressed like a thug, right? Which in New York is a weird crossover.
I don't know, dude. DMS.
Yeah, we all dressed like, it was like a weird world. Yeah. But he came over and we started talking, and it was like, yeah, he's like, there's this, he's like, oh, I got, do you like this other band, Dashboard Confessional? And I was like, nah, I never heard of them, thinking they were going to be hardcore. And he gave me the album. I was like, this isn't at all what I thought it was going, like emo was new. I mean, emo, like I don't even think emo had a name yet. At least if it did, I wasn't involved in it, right? And to me, it sounded more like indie rock, right? But but it was like acoustic or whatever. I was like, yeah, dude, cool. Like literally it played like, and then like enough nights in a row, it started playing, it started getting catchy. The next thing I know, like I found myself like listening to it like on the drive home. Yeah. And 2 weeks later, he was like, hey, that band's playing MTV Unplugged. Do you want to go? And I was like, yeah, sure. Because I was like single. It was like this time in my life where I was like, if anyone asked me to do something, I just said yes.
Yeah,
because
you were just
moments.
You were just down
like,
for whatever.
Yeah, I was young. Yeah. I was like, all right, yeah, cool. Like, what else am I gonna do? I work the night shift at a 24-hour gym. Like, my life ain't going anywhere.
No,
let's figure it out. And went to a with that show. I met that blonde online, and was kicking it to her. And we got plucked out of line because the two, like, I was flirting with her in line, and so the producers were like watching everyone online, and they plucked us out
because you're gonna be good for the background.
Put us behind.
You're prime real estate.
Oh, we were prime real estate.
And
we were prime real estate. So, and I had like the spiked black hair.
Yep.
Yeah.
The shirt collared down.
Yeah.
Anyways, remember you first told me that? I'm like, no way. So I found it, and I was on Amazon, and I was looking at the record going, oh, this is the one. I put it in my pocket. I didn't realize I bought the damn record. It's still in my collection. That's how you got me. Touche'd me on that one. But I just saw it because it was so random. Like, this dude, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. But I'm not giving you a hard time about it.
I think for a period of time, because I was this kid who grew up in like the New York hardcore scene and punk rock, it was like being attached to emo was like the most uncool thing. But like I will still queue up Dashboard on a road trip.
No, but here's the thing though. It's like people, because back then you could only be one thing.
Yeah.
You could, if you're only down for this, you're down for this. You couldn't cross-pollinate your genres of music at all.
When I was all of like 11, my best friend Tim just started listening to rap, and we were all like metalheads. And I was like, I don't understand, dude. Like, I just thought we weren't going to be friends anymore. Like, I couldn't even understand how you could listen to both metal and rap. Maybe I was like 10, because I think by the time I was 10, or maybe actually might have been young, because I was definitely listening to rap by 10, but like maybe I was like 8 or 9. And then he's like, I don't know, man, like rap's pretty good. And he played for me the Slick Rick Great Adventure Stuff album. And I was like, oh shit,
Okay.
I kind of like this.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, I listened to both. But then I remember like how different that was. Like you had the metalheads, and you had like the hip hop kids, and you had the punk kids, and even like metalheads and punk kids were like two different.
Oh yeah,
people.
yeah. They couldn't be in the same.
And now
place.
it's like so blended.
yeah,
Yeah,
But
which
it
is
is.
great. That part I think is good. I think it's good that music is blended to that point.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Because everyone can be like, oh, they can experience something,
yeah.
and they can be like, oh, this is cool, and you can see where they pull
Yeah.
it from now.
Do you like Turnstile?
I like Turnstile a lot. Actually, this morning I saw them do a cover. They did a cover of Stone Roses' "I Want to Be Adored."
Ooh, okay.
I saw it this morning. Super sick. Now
Yeah.
I know some people are not in Turnstile because they're not hardcore anymore.
Yeah.
They definitely crossed over, but
Do you know Straight Edge Jeremy?
straight, yeah.
He turned me on to Turnstile on a road. Me and him were on a job together, and we were like just listening to hardcore. And he was like, "You want something a little bit more melodic?" He's like, "Have you heard of Turnstile?" And this was like before this was years back. And I was like, "Oh, this is pretty good." And I kind of forgot about it. I was like driving somewhere, and I was like, I just want something different to listen to. And I had saved it in my Spotify, and I turned it on, and then literally like 3 months later, they like absolutely exploded. And I think they're great. I mean, to me, they are today's generation Fugazi,
That's probably a good way to say it.
because Fugazi was like this post-punk, like
Mhm.
post-hardcore, and early Fugazi was like really hard, right? Like that, like waiting room era, like, you know, like that had this particular, 13 songs, right? Like had this particular sound to it. And then like the later stuff is really melodic. And when I was younger, I didn't like the melodic stuff.
Because you want to be angry.
Like the argument,
Yeah.
and like it didn't match the energy. Like my energy was here. I wanted music to match my energy. And now I don't think I've listened to 13 songs in forever. But I mean, I'll cherry pick a song or two here, but I will go back and listen to like On the Killer Take and like, all of that a lot, because like that melodic stuff just made more sense to me as I was older. And I look at Turnstile the same way, because their early stuff was a lot harder.
Yeah.
And then like now their most recent album, which went really big.
Anywhere
is
online they
all of
post about them, people are going to fight it. This isn't hardcore. And I get it, because they just like, it's not what they think is.
Yeah.
And they don't want people to like have it.
Yeah.
And they've left that. I wouldn't say they left it, but they've moved on to like, hey, this is what we want to play. Because, dude, when they fill up a park and people show up for a free show and everyone's excited and no one's getting bummed out, like that's what they need.
They're great.
People need that.
It was funny on the pod we did with James Pumphrey. He called Hoonigan new metal, and I was like, I was like, and I don't think he meant it as an insult, but for some reason, for me, it felt like an insult, because for me, I always saw Hoonigan as being more like punk rock or hardcore. But then I realized that like I'm just from an earlier generation where like those terms mean like very different things. And then I thought to myself, I don't actually know what new metal is, because to me, there was like metal, and then metal had these breakdowns like death metal, right?
Yeah.
And like then there
Black
was
metal.
black metal,
Yeah.
and like hair metal.
There's metalcore. Then we get into cores.
Yeah, but then like there was like a whole genre, like generation, like after that like I just stopped paying attention, because I just stopped listening to that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. That was a random interesting thing. But
That's
I
funny.
want to go back. Let's rewind. I want to go back to where I was saying I think the term creative has become way too broad. And because of that, I've decided that I just am now and like it sounds fucking pompous to say it, because there's not like a better term for it, but like I'm just a story person. Whether you want to call it a storyteller, you want to call it a raconteur, if you want to be really fucking pretentious. But I just think that like I enjoy telling stories no matter what I do. Like that's it. Whether those stories are through design, through film, through writing, through podcasts. Like I just enjoy stories. Like that is the thing that I like doing. And that I have a creative eyes for things, but I think that is like my more specific part of it. It's like, I don't know, you call it creative storyteller or whatever. Because I think nowadays, if you take 10 creatives and put them in a room, they all do different things.
Yeah. But that's the whole point. Yeah. Because I would we'd sit down, we'd have these monster meetings that would last for 12, 14 hours. And we would be...
Was that not, now that it's over, was that like totally not your jam? Because I love long fucking creative meetings.
I think if we could actually accomplish actionable things, it's productive.
Yeah.
It would be mutiny. As soon as you walk out of the room, a lot of time people would be jumping off the ship right away trying to do something else. And then you would come back. I remember dude, it was bad. We had writing sessions, which is a whole different idea of like doing story arcs, and everyone had to write their own creative, which is like that broad term. Yeah. And then we put on the board and you'd be like, nope, this is all not going to work. It was just hard because when you have that many people invested into going a certain direction, it's hard. It's just hard. Like you know, I think for me, it was soul crushing. What really kind of did it was when we had a certain person, not going to name names, reading.
This whole pod has been not naming names.
It's fine.
The names. Name the names.
Yeah. But no, not going to. Explaining to us what Hoonigan was, because they were reading a pitch deck, and explained to us what we were doing and who we were. Was
this one of the Bobs?
No. Oh. It was one of those people attached to that. It was like, anyways, I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, it was during that era. And I was just like, this guy is reading this thing line per line. I'm not going to tell you the whole thing. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to read it to you what a Hoonigan is. Like, that's when you start realizing, like, we need to clear the space. This is getting too much. Yeah. But
I mean, I think if anything, there was this one, I would say one thing, there was this period of time at Hoonigan where I think it was so clear to a group of us exactly what we were. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, it was like you knew what the aesthetic was.
We were firing on all cylinders.
Everybody knew what we were and what we were doing. And then you just have too many people. To me, I realized this. I think 15 employees is the ultimate sweet spot. Anything more than that, 15 is at a point where at a company, like, there's enough people to handle the stuff that creative shouldn't be doing. Mm-hmm. You know, whether like just making sure people get paid, making sure we get paid, right?
Electricity in the building,
all of these things, right? Like, there needs to be people to do that. But once you can no longer all go get a table at like a big restaurant together, it's not a company. It's not a company that works like a family anymore. Mm-hmm. And like, I know that this is like the most negative thing that is said in corporate, which is like, we're a family.
Yeah, you don't say that ever.
But I never say that. But I think there was a period at Hoonigan where we all felt like family, like where everybody was like we were at least gang. You know what I'm saying? Where like everybody was fucking down for each other. And like, there was definitely this thing where it was like, we were all here for each other. That changed as there just became more people because you don't connect in the same way. I mean,
it's impossible. You cannot do that.
Because like, really, by the time you had blown out and developed the art department, there were people who I just didn't like. I barely talked to them. I barely had interaction with Chris and with V because I had interaction with you because that just made sense.
Well,
but in the early days, you and I were like, we would just do it. Like, we would do the thing. It was just us. But as we started to make more, you couldn't do all of it anymore. We need to bring in more people. And now it's like the vision gets blurred because you guys would go do your own thing. I would be doing this over here. And then I would come back in instead of it being this moment of like, oh, let's perfect this. It's like, oh shit, you guys kind of went in the wrong direction for 3 days. And then everyone's like, well, what the fuck?
It wasn't even 3 days. It was like, you're on your island. Yeah. We're on our island. I was literally told by some people, we will not mention their names, like, get it together and go make as much money as you can, or we're going to can you, which is not the best way to have inspiration for creative people, right? And we were a year out. People don't realize that. It wasn't the days of like, oh, when we first were at the donut shop, like, oh, we made some shirts. Yeah. Let's take a picture on the rolling rack. I put it in Photoshop. You posted on Instagram, people bought the shirts. Hurt might have made an edit, something for it. That was it. Now we're like, there's a whole department. That
was one of my biggest pushbacks and fights. I never understood why we needed to be a year out of season because we didn't operate as a fashion company.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you want to make product that you could have a holiday, you have to have a time development cycle. That's how it is. Like, you can't make a custom jacket in 3 weeks.
I know.
So anyways, that's where the biggest disconnect was. And we would have these, because you and I would have we would have that meeting and we'd talk about what the vision was for the year. Yeah. We'd execute. Yeah. That stopped happening.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because you were doing other things.
I know. I was doing too many things.
And then it was like, okay, we got to keep the ship going.
Yeah.
So that's why I was told, like, you got full control. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take the wheel.
Yeah.
Some people can't do that. They won't do it.
Yeah.
They need someone to hold their hand. And like, there was no option.
Yeah.
So.
But, and again, that was like, at that point, we were 40 employees.
Yeah. When I left Famous, there was 100-something people there. Like, I went downstairs one time and like, who are these people?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know. Like, that's when it's time to like realize it's not going to be the same thing.
It, you know, I think you remember this, like the Mark Arsenal thing, because Mark said to me, like, I was talking to Mark about, you know, Hoonigan growing and so on, and he had said that he kind of wanted to stop Illust from growing, and this was like right after Hoonigan like went to Zoomies, and I looked at it as like, that's like a nice cop out, right? And later on, I realized like, man, he was really right. Because like there is a certain size that like
you can manage it.
You can manage it, and everybody.
It's fun.
It's fun, and you get to. And also the biggest one, I think that this is the thing that most people don't tell you, is if you're really good at doing something, as you build a company, people will come in and tell you not to do the thing you're good at anymore.
Because use the suits.
Yeah, like the people will come in and tell you, like, no, you need to be an executive now. Versus you doing the thing that got you to where we are today.
Yeah.
Right. Which was what happened for me. It was like I was spending more time in meetings
because they love having meetings about meetings.
And meetings about meetings versus like doing the thing versus like being involved in the content.
Look at
being
this.
Involved in the product.
Move the Tire Slayer Studios. Can shoot anytime we want. Yeah. Shot 1 day a week.
Yeah.
And it wasn't exciting. You could go as long as you wanted to. And it just didn't have the same energy.
Soupy and I talked about this on a previous episode. I don't understand why Tire Slayers. We may have just already missed the window. Like the brand may have already been feeling like it was over, and like I kind of joke sometimes that Tire Slayer Studios was like either like that vacation or like having another kid before the divorce.
Trying to save it.
Yeah, like we're gonna do this thing, and at first it fucking felt sick, and like we have all this room. But it just wasn't there anymore.
Because let's be honest, 621 was a character.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, dude, the people like I remember KZ found that dude OD'd on the dock when we first got there.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It was a different place.
Yeah,
I mean, I get it. Imagine coming home from a day at work.
We found somebody in the dumpsters. You remember that? I
don't remember that one.
Yeah, the security guy that we hired, who used to fight with the cops. Remember him? What was his name? David. He found someone. They weren't dead, but they were pretty close to it in our dumpster. Like he crawled into our dumpster overnight, and
well, I mean,
it was pretty wild there.
That part of town was definitely rough. We're gonna
you should go check it out on the way out of town now. It is way worse than it was when we were
really.
There. Yeah,
hard to believe.
Yeah,
but you're saying I can understand why the city got bummed.
Yeah, we were
come home, you want to have a nice relaxing evening or afternoon, and you got a bunch of assholes outside, loud, smoke, and
yeah.
But
we did invite like Australian tip-in cars to do burnouts.
Bad idea.
In a residential neighborhood across from a school.
Whatever.
You live and learn.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Yeah, for you, I can understand wanting to do the analog, holding a book.
Yeah.
Interacting with the things. Trying to find, that's what makes inspiration so exciting, because when you find it, like I just did my latest drop I did for Dstroyr was based around 70s car culture. It was kind of skewing more towards vanning, because like the side pipes, stuff like that. But I showed like, here's a color palette that was popular. And people would see that and they would spark, like, especially if you're a certain age, like, oh, my grandma had an avocado refrigerator.
Yeah.
And then they had this color, blah, 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 on the couch, whatever. And then showing some different information for it. It wasn't just Peter Frampton. It was like, oh, people were listening to like the Runaways and like the music, and I made a playlist for it. Like, this is what I was listening to. I was drawing this stuff and showing the whole process of really, this is probably the first time I did that much on my own to explain why I did the thing I did. And it's like, for me, that was more exciting than the finished work. Like showing people.
No, I get it. I'm working on a script right now for a movie. And this is gonna be a whole other pod, but
okay.
But I'm working on a script right now for a movie, and I'm like being very deliberate in keeping things as a record of telling it, because I think that like the process of how it all comes together and the things that inspire it is like such a big part of making it, that like that story is like really interesting to me. So I might make it and the movie might suck, whatever, but I might write it and then the movie never even comes to fruition. But it's actually been a big part of the process, is like the research that goes into creating it, including like the other films that I'm watching, because I'm going back and I'm watching films from like the 60s and 70s and like that speak to how I think film should be in terms of like the practicality of cars and like action and crashing and all that kind of stuff. But also like all the way down to, you know, just even like old magazines and all of that. Like, and I love that. I love like the process of it all. Like the process is more, I realize it to me, the process is more important than the finished product.
Oh, I got that from you right away. You love
I love
collecting all the stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like you love buying parts
It's
for
why
cars.
none of my cars are finished, because the process is actually my favorite part. Once it's over,
you're like,
once it's finished,
you're like,
the process is done.
Yeah,
and
so you're always in the process mode.
Yeah.
But it is the most satisfying thing. Like you put all this stuff together.
Yeah.
And sometimes, it doesn't feel the same as when it's finished. Yeah. But
once you bust that nut, it's time to take a nap. Sometimes getting there is more fun.
Yeah, exactly. But that's it though, because you're like, oh, I built this all up, and you're like,
Yeah.
But I hope you could do it. You could even shoot it on your own and just make it self-funded. I mean,
ain't cheap, but no, I've got a plan, but I'll talk about that more later.
Okay.
So, we've gone a couple hours as promised.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly thought we were going to go longer. I was prepared for 5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't really talk about cars.
We could do a part 2. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think there was a lot of audience that asked for you to come on. I think this is the show they wanted.
Yeah, because people don't care about my car stuff.
It's not that they don't care about your cars. I think it's that, like, if you want to hear about your 55, like, yeah, we made content about that. You could go watch that. I'm sure people wanted some updates. You kind of gave them to them, which is that there are no updates because you haven't done much. You're getting back into it now.
Yeah.
So, are you going to do more with Dstroyr coming forward? I know you've been doing a bit.
Yeah. So I have actually quite a few things. I'm going to talk about it here. So I don't know what your cadence is for releasing these things. So
this is going to come out like next week.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I can give people like a sneak on it. It sounds like I worked with Jamie Wera.
Okay.
So I'm doing a collab with them coming out.
Wow, I didn't know that. Awesome.
Yeah.
Sick.
So I'm stoked on that. I designed and producing my own Dstroyr tennis shoe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's the last thing I could never do.
Can you talk about the Wera thing? Or however, everyone says it differently. I actually asked Jamie last night, I'm like, how do you say it? He's like, some people say Wera, some people say Wera. Are like, the receptionist says we are tools. And I was like, oh, that's kind of funny.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway, how did that come about?
So you were supposed to be on a call when we were at Hoonigan with Jamie. Okay. And you no-showed. You had something going on. So I took the call and talked to Jamie.
Sounds right. Yeah.
And then we tried to do the sticker. This is when Jamie first started the sticker wall. So we tried to send stickers to him, stuff like that. And we just kind of kept in contact. And he wanted to figure out how we could work together.
Right.
And then I did the shirt that they were wearing at SEMA last year.
Oh, okay, cool.
So then, like, we're going to do something. It's going to be similar like I do with
they're a
Hobbies.
partner of the podcast now.
Yeah,
too.
I know. Yeah. Congratulations. You got partners like that. You have to do the deliverable part of your show at the end. You do the Heatwave. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. But that's how you got to pay bills.
Yeah. It's how you pay bills. But it's also like, it's companies I like.
Yeah. I
could name all the people who work at these companies, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
that's good.
Jamie at Wera, like, Justin at Heatwave. It's nice to know that.
Yeah.
Scott at FCP. Yeah.
So it's good. So, like, we're doing that. Same, very similar to what I did with Hot Wheels. Like, I did the design. People can purchase it. The proceeds are going to go to Child Mind Institute. So I'm doing that. And then they're putting up a tool cabinet, the roller.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We're trying to auction it off. I don't know how that's going to really work. I got to figure out how we can make that work easier for people. But so I'm excited about that.
Are you doing all your own fulfillment, or are you? Yeah.
Yeah. Which is like kind of made it. I'm going back to I tried to do a lot of the stuff previously. So anything I want to do, like I want to make jewelry, like I'll 3D model it, I'll make jewelry, which worked out really well for me. I think I like it. It's something else, an outlet. So yeah, I'm like, when you get an order from me, I'm signing the note, I'm packing it.
I bought a shirt from you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, actually, I have some gifts for you, actually.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. This is the thing where Scotto gets free stuff.
No, but I buy stuff from my friends because like that's the way to support it. You know? So
but
if you want to give me stuff, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But if I see something I like, I'm just gonna buy it.
No, I appreciate it. And it's hard because
it was like a good burgundy. Yeah, it was a good color. Yeah.
That was and I do appreciate it because like that means a lot because it means you stopped, to take that time to do
that
it.
alone, it's not the money.
Yeah, it's stopping.
It's going through the order process to go and be like, oh, I want that. And then I have to click through and do all of that. Yeah.
So I appreciate that. So
versus people who just drop into the comments and are like, yo, hook it up. Like,
yeah, sure, buddy. Exposure? Nice. Sure. Got you. So I'm doing that. And then I'm doing my own shoe. So like I've designed, obviously, soft goods, but I've done handmade acetates out of Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I've done selvage denim. I've done watches, which is funny. If you have something shipped into Switzerland, just right inside the border, you can call it Swiss built, Swiss assembled. Anyways, the thing I never got to do is shoes. So my buddy, who I haven't seen forever, he used to work at this skate shop in Corona called Extreme, and I was tight with the owner, Louis. And then that kid went on, his brother is a shoe designer, and he went on to become a shoe designer. He's the one who designs Muska's Skytop.
Okay, yeah.
So his name's Josh Brubaker. He helped me randomly maybe 2 years ago about like, are you this dude? I'm like, yeah, it's me. All right, cool. So I started following each other. And in last January, he's like, I'm going to do a shoe school if anyone's interested. And that was January of 25. And October of 25 said, I'm doing it. So it was an investment in myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for 5 days in Santa Ana at his spot. And I learned how to do it. And part of the deal was like, once you have your design, get it made. So I have my own shoe.
Sick.
So I designed.
When's that come out?
Hopefully April. We'll see.
That shoes are such a crazy one. We never did shoes because there's just too much size scale. Like you're carrying just so many sizes.
Oh, bro. This got out of hand.
Yeah.
So, but I'm like, I got to like make some room.
Going up to 14 or 13?
So the problem is that it's so funny that you mentioned that because I was doing the design. I'm getting ready to pay my deposit to get production going. And then the factory's like, yeah, we don't go up to that size. So I only have like 5 through 11 on this run.
Yeah, well, I won't be supporting then.
That's fine. I get it though. I knew I was going to be missing that window.
Yeah.
So it sucks, but
get the first ones out.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's the sizes that are going to sell, right? I mean, what a sample size is a 9, right?
Yeah. So like basically 9s through 11 is it.
That's the winner. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything else is like really small, but it's fine. But yeah, I'm excited to do that. So basically Dstroyr now is like, just like, is my place to do things that I won't be able to do for clients.
Mm-hmm.
Like my current clients, like DBK, like they're 2-wheel dirt bike moto freestyle, right? Really awesome though, right? And then I'm working with Vaughn on stuff for RTR and Funhaver and stuff like that. And that's like doing their thing. And it's like, this is where I can do the things I want to do that are like outside. Plus, not everyone's making them like that.
Yeah. And that's the whole reason that I started 321 was like, people are like, what is it? I'm like, it's a company that allows me to do things.
Yeah. The
like
things
sometimes it's a production company. Sometimes it might be a product company. I'm in the process of creating a couple books because I miss analog and that type of stuff. And so all of that stuff is like, I can do all of it. Like that's one of the nice things. Like that's why you have Dstroyr.
Yeah. So it's like a place you can make the thing you want. Yeah. So if you want to make some sign stuff, you can make some sign stuff there and go through there. Yeah. And it's fine. Speaking of the books, did you see Larry's book?
I did at SEMA, but I haven't actually, like, I haven't sat and enjoyed it. Have you?
Yeah, I bought it. It's cool. The early photos from Power Tour in there with us.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, you're sitting on Nova, and then the 55's in there.
Oh, nice.
Dad's actually edited it.
Oh, really?
Book, yeah.
Well, I know Ryan, who is the guy who runs the book company that did that, because I've been talking with him about potentially doing some books and stuff like that. So yeah, it's I mean, Larry just has Larry could probably make 20 books with the amount of photos he has. Dude,
he works so hard. He deserves everything he has right now. It's crazy. Yeah, but I mean, dude, he's an arrive and drive guy now. Like he's reached that level.
I love that as a level. Arrive and drive is definitely a status level. Yeah, you get to that. Yeah, I like that.
So,
one last thing. So we talked about potential Hoonigan reunion. You're in?
Yeah, I'm in. It's interesting. I heard the stories, the threads going.
Yeah. There's obviously the group chat of everybody who's now. Everyone seems in. But what were you gonna say? What's the interesting part?
If we can actually come down with the actual unified vision of how this is gonna work.
Yeah, I mean, look, you guys just have to all. I think at some point everyone just
trust the process.
Someone has to trust the process, and also there's a bit of the trust us menu of like how this is gonna happen. So, because if everybody has a say in how this happens, it won't happen. So I think there's got to be like the committee that everyone agrees, okay, these people will make it happen. And then like your elective representatives. And then from there,
what could go wrong?
from there we make it happen. Because I'll be honest, I think 3 of us should figure it out for like the main piece. And then other people could do different stuff. Like one of the things is we should have a merch drop that's tied to all of this.
Yeah.
Because like, and I'm just being extremely transparent. This has to make money. Otherwise, like no one has time in their life anymore. Like at Hoonigan, we could all take a week to go do something because you still got a paycheck at the end of the week. With this, you take a week or 2 off of your life.
Here I just went from a week to 2 weeks.
Well, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, it's because it's a week to make it, and then it'll be a week to promote it or to do whatever.
No, I
comes out of
understand
it. Like it takes time for people. That like there has to be a math in it that makes sense, right? And like everyone thinks people make money on YouTube, but like this episode will make like $60. Like that's how life is, and that doesn't pay Nick, right? So, but. So it's one of those things where like that has to be, so like there has to be like a cool merch. And like when I say merch, like I think we should do something really special for it. Not just like if we've got some time to plan something, it shouldn't just be like a t-shirt.
So here's the thing. That's where planning comes into play.
Yeah, so I've heard.
So the plan is like you were asking like what's everyone's schedule looking like? We got to figure that out. But I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
It would be interesting.
What we should do is we should just vote on a group of people who need to do this, right? Like I've already voted myself in.
Of course, it's your idea. It spawned from you. So,
but then there needs to be like the yin to my yang. Like there needs to be the more pragmatic person who is there to make sure that I don't. Because if it's like just me and Zach and Ron, y'all are fucked. Because like that's just like the worst people to be planning.
Yeah, I've already heard like, oh, so sabotage is okay. And I've heard all this other stuff. It's like, I think just trying to figure out.
At some point when this comes out, I want to print the group chat of this. We'll redact some stuff.
You have to.
But I think we need to print the group chat of this so everyone understands like the conversation that was being had internally about this. So
yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, I look forward to that. So Route 66 or something like that. And I'll be like Power Tour all over again.
But maybe shorter and hopefully less painful. But it sounds like more painful.
If it's less painful, it's just not as good of a story.
I know you like the story. The storytelling is coming out.
Storytelling sometimes requires pain.
I think almost all of it does.
It just is. Yeah. It's part of the process. Pain is the process.
Exactly. So
anyway, John.
All right, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming all the way out here. I know you're now going to have to go sit in traffic or go do something else.
I'm going to go to the museum and go check out Robert Williams' exhibit.
Oh, sick.
So, yeah. That's what I'm going to do. So.
Sounds good. Thank you, everybody, for another episode. This one was a bit all over the place, but that's kind of all our conversations are.
Yeah.
So this feels really normal for the 2 of us.
100%.
Yeah. I didn't check like 19 of the things I wanted to talk about, but just another reason to have John back on.
Okay. Then we won't talk about those either.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
The mailbox is full. The mailbox is full. The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at this time. Goodbye.
Our friends at Vyper Industrial asked us to do a bit of R&D since I put in some serious seat time on their stools. And I have notes. Sure, they're extremely robust. It's in the name. But no one ever talks about the negatives. To start, they roll too good. Yeah, they've added locks, but I'm an all gas, no brakes kind of guy. Second, they're way too comfortable. Aren't they intended for wrenching, not scrolling Instagram for 6 hours when you're supposed to be finishing your build? Lastly, the fabrication quality. It's better than all of my builds. Vyper, do you even think about my ego? Anyway, if you must, go to vyperindustrial.com. That's Vyper with a Y. Of all the sunglass companies out there, you might ask, why Heatwave? Aside from them being friends of mine, they just make great shades. Awesome styles, cool collabs, smart tech. They even have extra large sizes for big heads like me. And for those of you wearing this on the job, they make ANSI Z87 spec safety glasses too. But what really attracts me to Heatwave is that they are physically a part of our culture. You will find them everywhere, from King of the Hammers to Formula Drift. You'll see everyone wearing Heatwaves at your local track day event. Damn, you might even turn laps with the co-founder Justin, because they're one of us. So, one more reason to choose Heatwave Visual to fix your face. I'm a tool dork. My obsession might even dwarf my addiction to cars. I love collecting unique and specialty tools, which is how I initially fell in love with Wera. First off, They just make aesthetically pleasing tools. They feel good in your hand, they have a great finish, their sizes are universally color-coded, and they are super strong. In 2 decades, I've never broken a tool from Wera. I wish I could say the same about my other tools. But the thing I like the most about Wera is that they create clever solutions for your wrenching woes, because you need over-engineered tools to work on today's over-engineered cars. So if you're ready to step up your tool game, whether it's the Zyklop ratchet or the Joker wrenches, find them at weratools.com.